Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're all doing well. It is time for some hot Age of Empires 4 tournament action. So certainly very excited. We have some seriously intense competition today. So let's go ahead and break it down. So first jumping on over, we can see the first match of the day is going to be between Beastieqt, who actually just defeated Lucifron, who of course we saw in the top 4 of the big Genesis tournament. And he is going to be facing off against ZG Light. So as far as the picks for the first match goes, it is going to be ZG Light picking the Mongols and banning the English and French. So let me go ahead and make sure the players have added me to the game and I'm on their friends list. Looks like we are all set and need to make sure they have a spec slot open as well. So just going to tag them real quick. Beastie and ZG Light. Perfect. Make sure there is spec slot. Huge. Alrighty, cool. So they're going to be getting their same game set up. They'll be in a lobby in just a second and we'll be getting started with the first match of the day. How is everyone doing? Welcome, welcome. So I'm sure some of you guys want to see the big bracket as well. So we can jump on over and take a look at that. So big tournament today. Overall, I think we had about 90 players playing, somewhere around that. And here on the top side of the bracket, Vortix has actually just reached top 4. He was obviously in the top 4 of Genesis as well. Down here we have 3DB facing off against Nikolai and Mixu, who I think actually just was defeated by Fusaria here. So we are getting to the top of the brackets, and as soon as these guys are ready, we'll get this party started. But yeah, a lot of big names today. We had the Sniper, we had Kapak, tons of players that you guys have probably recognized from the Age of Empires community, but now we're going to be jumping into Ye Old Event. So let's update the bracket. Looks like Vortix has made it to the top. And what are your predictions? First game is going to be Mongols. I think after the big Genesis tournament, a lot of people kind of started to feel as if Mongols were one of the big powerhouses of this game. And I happen to agree a little bit. I think they're very strong. And that was kind of my opinion in the earlier betas. You know, I'm not the best player in the world, but man, Mongols were so dominant in some of the early beta tests that they were used in. But then, you know, they kind of got overshadowed by the French. I think French are overall easier to use, but I think when you have, you know, the Mongols in the hands of these like crazy micro masters, it becomes a whole different game. Yes. You know, we actually had a fair amount of Chinese today. We had a really amazing match that I watched between the Viper facing off against 3DB. Now, 3DB is a Chinese main, and he was actually able to defeat his opponent's English with Chinese. And, you know, the Sniper. And the Sniper is just an amazing player. So very impressive achievement. And he's still playing. I believe he's in a round right now. So he is a Chinese main. And also I saw Lucifron playing Chinese as well, although he was eliminated. So we actually have had a fair amount of Chinese being played today. And this is a good tournament for these high-level players to practice their off-sibs, right? Because it's not like a massive, you know, prize pool of like $5,000, $10,000. It's one that they can, you know, kind of take it a little bit easier with and practice some other stuff against good players in a tournament format. Yes. So, no problem. Let me go ahead and see if he's having any problems setting up the match. I will check with them. Alrighty. Yes, correct. No delay. All right. All right, my chat said QT shouldn't be capitalized. No problem, my friend. I will happily fix that for you. And that has been updated. Fixed your name as well. I don't know why I thought the QT was highlighted. Yeah, it's all good. All right, we're all set. So they're going to be getting started here in just a minute. Thank you all for joining once again. Should be a fun day of tournament play. Hey, Psycho, thank you so much. We got him covered. Yeah, we had quite a bit of Chinese today. But again, we'll see what's going to be played here in the finals. I did not see the counter pick, so let's go and see what the counter pick was for Beastie. Yes, you guys can start, my friend. Good luck, have fun. It's been a pleasure. I was watching your stream for quite a bit, Beastie, and man, you are a very impressive player. That was some incredible micro and very good pressure you put on. So we will find out what his pick is going to be. ZG Light is going to be Mongols. He is a Mongol main. I think he's climbed to the very high points of the leaderboard with Mongols. So getting, you know, through the best of 1 stages of these tournaments, you only have to know 1 civ, right? Because there's no pick and ban, it's blind pick. But when you get to the best of 3s, that's when things get kind of crazy. Because I would say you have to have a pretty good mastery over at least 3 civs. All the matches today are going to be best of 3, so they don't really have to have a super deep, you know, best of 7 type knowledge. But overall, should be pretty good today. We should be streaming in 1440p today. I don't know why. Yeah, it should be. All right, let me go ahead and double check the settings. I am pretty sure it is, my friend. But let me check for you in 1 second. I don't know where to look. Taking a look here. Settings should be pretty good. Yeah, I don't know. The quality should be pretty good. Yeah. Anyways, let me know if it's not, and we can try and adjust that, but it should be. So the players are loading into the first match. Let us go ahead and observe this. Let's get this party started. There will be no delay. And here we go. It is not. Okay, interesting. Yeah. It's at least 1080 though, right? The stream. I mean, if that's the case, it's going to be totally fine. Okay, as long as it's 1080, that's fine. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we're here with our first match in this best of 3. It's going to be the Mongols led by ZG Light facing off against Beastieqt, coming in with a Mongol counter pick. Oh my god. Yeah, isn't this crazy? All right, as long as the quality is still good, then we're all set. So this is pretty funny, and we've seen this happen a lot in the high-end tournaments, right? Like if somebody picks like French and some of the good other civs they want to, play against said faction are banned out because we're using a pick and ban format today. We'll just see them. They're like, you know what? I'm just gonna play the same civ and let's just go fisticuffs and see how this plays out here. So very excited to see this match. On the south side, we do of course have Beastieqt, and he's going to be doing with a pretty standard opening, a little bit of early wood, which is usually indicative of either setting up a second gear here or getting a stables near your OVO. Up in the northwest corner of the map, we have our other Mongolian player. It is going to be ZG Light on the Mongols. He has told me before that he is a Mongol specialist. This is like his one thing that he is really, really good at in this game, and he has used it to get pretty far in today's event. So we'll see what he's able to do. Quite curious to see the differentiating build orders here. So the OVO has been set up here, and it looks like he's got a worker preemptively placed, which is pretty much indicative that we probably are going to be seeing some sort of early pressure, whether it be double spearmen or double stables. Or double producing stables is what I meant to say. Looks like it's going to be a barracks coming in here, and for the forces of Beastie, it looks like he has not opted to set up anything near the OVO. So the early pressure is going to be coming on from ZG Light, whereas it would appear that Beastieqt here is going to be going for a more kind of a balanced standard tech build, and yes, that is going to be the case. So here we do have a Gare being set up, which means he's just going to be going standard tier 2. So these spearmen are going to have to, do some work. He's probably going to double produce like 3 or 4 of them, I would imagine, go and roast his opponent's OVO, and then maybe try and push him off gold. But we'll see how quickly they can get there. So yes, the first of the double spearmen are being produced, and for anybody who's new to the game, essentially here you can see the OVO. So what does this do? Well, it basically gathers stone for the Mongols. Mongols cannot gather stone in any other way, so it is a slower gathering rate. But what you can do with said stone is buildings that are built within the influence of an OVO can either double produce units, or they can get specialized upgrades, like basically improved versions of upgrades, which is very cool. So if you build like your blacksmith here, or build a Gare here, you can get the improved wheelbarrow, you can get improved siege engineering, lots of cool stuff for sure. Mongols definitely very strong indeed. So the spears are hustling across the map. Let's go ahead and take a look at vision for both players. Pretty good scouting here. The Khan has seen the barracks, and he sees the double spearman coming out. Very, very good scouting here by Beastieqt. So he knows this is coming, and it will give him a little bit of time to kind of react and maybe make some sort of a switch to what he's doing. But I think he's, in response, this is very good. He sends more workers to gather gold, knowing that he needs to get that 200 gold before the spearmen get here and start pressuring. Now for ZG Light, spearmen are about here. He will get the OVO for sure, but he's going to be able to pull these guys off gold here in just a second once the current resources for Beastie hit 200. And then he could just kind of pull back and tech to tier 2, probably get an archery range up and just push these guys back. Maybe even with the prevalence of early spears, we could see some Mangudai. And see, he does return the gold. And now he's going to head back. See, that one morsel of scouting information, man, that was really, really nice for sure. Like he saw that coming. He pulled extra workers to get the faster gold. And now he's in a relatively comfortable position here. So we will see indeed. Yeah, it's going to be fun. I was watching, so a lot of the players playing today, we actually had a lot of streams going. So many of the contenders were streaming their games, and I love that. That's probably my favorite part about hosting tournaments, is in the earlier rounds. I just go and like hang out and, eat some popcorn, watch their streams, and it's great, man. And I have to say, I was like starting to think when I was playing ladder, I was like, I'm getting all right at this game, And then when I watch these guys play like live, I'm like, all right, well, that puts things in perspective. I've been put back in my place for the day. But anyways, the spearmen up here and the OVO are getting toasted pretty good. The spearmen getting in there. Is there going to be an outpost coming up? It looks like from ZG we are going to be seeing an outpost placed, which is quite good. So basically he's going to place the outpost next to the gold, so that will deny Beastie gold for now. Granted, he could do like a secret agent gold node over here, try and set that bad boy up, but we will see indeed. The OVO is going to go down 100%. There's no stopping that. I mean, is he going to pull villagers? Yeah, look at this. Oh, he's going for the villager shank. Might be able to get this villager here. I don't think the Khan's going to be able to protect it. And it looks like ZG Light only brought one worker out here, and now Beastie is actually going to be able to go to the next age. You can see here, of course, he's got his deer stones coming up. So he's going to be way ahead. Now back here, it looks like there is going to be a second age tech, and more deer stones coming up for ZG Light as well. And this worker is trying to survive. The spearmen are coming in for the screen, but I think with good micro, the Khan should be able to pick off that worker. There's only 10 HP. And the spearmen are trying to push it back. Will the outpost be allowed to come up? The Khan going in for the kill. 8 HP. The Khan only does 2 damage a pop, and the spearmen can't quite get him. Oh my god, what a hero Khan. This thing is just an absolute beast. Really good control by Beastie. He's able to kind of maneuver around and still get on that villager. But man, if that villager survives, that is going to be really punishing. I don't think it is. The pick is there, and now there are no more villagers down here to finish the outpost. Therefore, I would say that Beastie is going to be able to reclaim that gold. And also you can see he packed up his gear, he moved it back to the base. He'll probably just go right back out there, because if this had gotten set up, he could have garrisoned his spearmen. And even if archers had come out, which are the intuitive counter against spearmen, the archers could have just sat in the outpost and denied gold for a long time. That actually would have been very, very strong indeed. So pulling back out here, moving on over, and in terms of what's going on here, you know, ZG Light with that pressure has gotten ahead in terms of like gold and resources. At income per minute, you can see ZG is killing it, 210, 280, really just doing very well. A little bit less in terms of wood, but he has gotten the gold advantage. So despite the slightly delayed tech, his opponent defended well. He took out the OVO. I mean, there's many, many nice accomplishments there. So a lot of that extra wood he had is going to have to set up the OVO. Overall, it's hard to say who's really in a commanding position. The score, of course, does show Beastieqt as being a little bit ahead. But again, that pressure was good and did allow ZG to kind of get a little bit of a gold edge. But we'll see what he can do with that. I guess he's still not at the next age yet, and that's partially why the score is like that. So once his Deerstone does finish, we're going to be seeing more of an accurate representation of the current state of the game. So archers are going to be pumped out. Are we going to see Mangudai? We are going to be seeing them, and I felt like we never really got to see Mangudai in some of the bigger tournaments in Genesis and things like that. But I'm very eager to see them here. So Mangudai are going to be popping out, and I mean two Mangudai can deal with just a massive number of spears. And now the score is more or less even, give or take 100 points. So really, it should be all fine for both players in this Khan. In Mortal Kombat with the bitiest of infantry, it actually says that in the tooltip. The wolf here is able to do battle with the Khan. So we will see what's cracking there. And now the Khan is going to be moving across the map and looking to go after maybe some villagers, maybe do a little bit of scouting. Obviously, that's the more important thing. We are going to be seeing a big Mangudai push. We do have 2 Mangudai. Now, Mangudai are relatively countered by basic archers in my experience. Usually, if you could just pump out a bunch of archers and droves, you can usually do pretty well at kind of defending against those. But if you can capitalize on having them and, harass the eco a little bit, like poke some of the spears here, maybe get back here and shut down this gold. But yeah, very, very good response by ZG. He's setting up outposts everywhere. And outposts will also counter the Mangudai. And he is getting the arrow slits. Now, this is kind of an interesting thing about Mongols. Is most civs don't really go for stone super quick unless they want a second TC. But since the Mongols, it looks like one of the Khans has fallen. So yes, the red Khan, the Khan of ZG Light has fallen in the bushes over there. But he gets the arrow slits upgrade, which basically gives it an arrow tower without having to man it, essentially, right? So that can help you defend against the Mangudai. And up here, gold node is pretty comfortable. We have not seen the arrow upgrade being made here yet, but perhaps we will in time. That second outpost not going to be set up. And the Deerstones is being moved down here, perhaps to get a little bit of a movement near where the epicenter of combat is. So once again, the villagers rushing out to finish the outpost. We got 4 Mangudai on the map right now. That's a pretty substantial investment. So we will see what those bad boys can do. They're going to finish it. They'll jump in there, and they should be able to start Gatling gunning down these Mangudai, who only have 85 HP. They're pretty squishy units overall. Like if you look at a villager, for example, they have 50 HP. I think a spearman has something like 80. So Mangudai aren't terribly tanky, whereas basic horsemen, I think, have like 110 HP. So yeah, very, very lightly armored, and obviously the mobility is their game plan. But really good defense here by ZG Light. Like, this game's been pretty back and forth so far, right? Like, one player kind of taking turns pressuring. It looks like we're going to be getting pasture set up. Pastures, of course, are the farm equivalent for Mongols, and they periodically spawn sheep. Now, if the pastures are built within the influence of an OVO, what they actually do is they spawn at a much faster rate. So you can just get, like, just a massive horde of sheep coming out. But the Mangudai are doing good. He's only lost 1 so far, and they have been able to put a little bit of pressure on, but at the very least, the Mangudais have forced like a ton of outposts up. So 1, 2, 3, and just 3 outposts in total from the Mangudai. And yeah, now they're just straight up getting in there and forcing the food back into the buildings here. Another Mangudai does fall. They're not cheap. I think they cost like 100 food themselves. Let's go ahead and double check this. So looking at the archery range here, it should be up around here somewhere. Yes, it's still by the OVO. Yeah, Mangudai do cost 120, but again, at the OVO, you can basically get 2 of them for 130, which is a great deal. So still circling around, looking to maybe get back to his opponent's gold, maybe get to the lumber lines here, and now there's going to be a blacksmith coming up. So I have a feeling ZG Light is going to play super defensive. He's going to set up like 2 or 3 archery ranges backed up by 2 or 3 barracks, and he's just going to do an archer push and get improved siege engineering and try and get Springald advantage. But the Mangudai have done okay so far. Beastieqt, according to the scorecard, still in relatively good shape, but overall, I would say that most of the damage has been done that the Mangudai are going to be doing. Although, yeah, they could keep harassing this gold. Do we have the arrow slits upgrade? We do. The Mangudai able to shoot from safety there, but the shots going in once again. Will he be losing another Mangudai? He is not. Pretty good control for sure. And yeah, the blacksmith is being moved next to the Ovo. So now we can go ahead and explain what's going to be going on here. And yeah, as far as like the score in the top right, I set no delay. So we're like right up where the players are. So it shouldn't be too big of a deal. Here we do have the siege engineering. So this is the improved variant. So you guys have seen the Abbasid, right? Abbasid get it for free. They can build mangonels and springalds with all their, their infantry, which is very cool. Mongols cannot do that normally, but if you get the improved siege engineering within the influence of the Ovo, you can actually do that. And we saw how powerful that was in Genesis. These big Mongol pushes coming in, backed up by just hordes and hordes of like springalds and actually like infantry-based Mongols doing very well for themselves. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the economic punishment that has begun on both players here. So taking a look at ZG Light, he's got 35 workers at the moment, or villagers I should say, against 34. So really the economics of things are pretty darn even. Of course, the Mangudai army is probably one of the main reasons why the score is a little bit more favored here. Looking at income per minute, Beastie is killing it on food. He's a little bit up there and also on gold. In terms of wood, ZG Light doing a little bit better, which probably is indicative of a tier 3 artillery push, right? Typically, if you're going to do that, you want to just have a ton of wood, maybe like 600 wood, 600 gold, whatever it is, just to bang out like a bunch of springalds as soon as you hit Castle Age. And now we are going to be seeing a landmark coming in, probably Steppe Redoubt. Let's go ahead and look. Steppe Redoubt is going to be the choice here. And this is the advantage that the Mangudai have given, right? Because his opponent is in the back, he's defensive. Now he can very just heavily tech here. We are going to be seeing the Steppe Redoubt, 15 workers building this bad boy. And the Steppe Redoubt acts as a gold drop-off site, but it gives you 50% more gold. So you can basically take a look at this gold node and multiply what's left by 50%. And that's how much extra you're going to be getting on top of that. Very strong. It's an incredibly good landmark. Yes, there's no delay in the game, just a little bit. It's like, I don't know, like 30 or 40 seconds. So, but if it is an issue for you guys in the next game, I can put a blocker up there. Now, the arrow slits upgrade basically gives the outpost the tools to shoot by itself, because normally outposts don't fire unless you put people in it. But the arrow slits upgrade does give you a couple defensive arrows, which can be nice if you're worried about this type of harass from like Mangudai and things like that. Now, is ZG going to be going to the next stage? It looks like he is, and he is also getting the Steppe Redoubt. So it looks like it's going to be an infantry Mongol push, which I think is much stronger than the Mangudai variant. But I have a feeling that QD is going to be switching off the Mangudai. No, he's actually staying on cavalry. Yeah, he's going to be producing Lancers and Mangudai. I'm really curious to see how they will perform against the more infantry-based army of spearmen and foot-based archers, maybe some crossbowmen backed up by springalds. In terms of improved siege engineering, we have not seen it yet. So this blacksmith is not built next to the Ovo, so he cannot get the improved upgrades at the moment. I really do think the siege engineering is going to be a pretty big factor. Now, the gold is being picked here. You can see the arrow slits were shooting even when nobody was garrisoned, so it does give you a little bit of stopping power, so you don't necessarily have to garrison it always, but against that many Mangudai, you typically are going to need to do that. So it looks like the villagers are back, the Steppe Redoubt is back in business, and yeah, look at this. So what's really neat about pastures, if you guys haven't seen this, yeah. Okay, we'll get you guys the blocker. Sounds good. I will put the blocker up, and I might even be able to do that during the game, but I'll check in and get it for the next match. My apologies, but thank you for the feedback, guys. So pastures can actually be given rally points. I didn't know this for a long time. So you can basically get your pastures and rally them wherever you want. So it's not like necessarily super important to build it right next to the TC. Typically they are built right next to the gathering sites, but here you can, if you want to save space for other things maybe, or have a little bit of room for some reason. I don't really know why you wouldn't build it right next to the TC, but you can give them rally points. And yeah, this is like Genesis Mongols in a nutshell, right? We saw just archer pushes, backed by men-at-arms, backed up by improved siege engineering, and you just go bananas. Look at this. Double crossbows being produced to counter the heavy cavalry, men-at-arms being pumped out at double the rate as well. And let's look at the banked resources of ZG. Yeah, so he's got 640 wood banked right now, and if you take a look at these units, the springald does cost 200 gold, but with the Steppe Redoubt going just balls deep right here, he should be okay to get that gold going, and there is most certainly going to be an artillery push coming in. But the Mangudai are doing a great job. I mean, they're just, poking and keeping them kind of in check here. In terms of other production, we do have heavy Lancers coming out. So Lancers are moving across the map. They're getting a little bit of harass. Really good dual-pronged pressure. So maybe this is going to be an adequate counter here to the more slow, pondering Mongol siege push. As the heavy Lancers get in there, they take out about 4 villagers. There are a couple of spearmen, but they're still Dark Age spearmen. They haven't even been upgraded to the hardened spearmen yet. So they're very soft spearmen, and now they're going to be diving on the crossbows, and they're actually getting a little bit of value on these guys. I think ZG is going to have to start pumping out some troops pretty quick to handle this harass. We're seeing some good old StarCraft harass here, attacking from multiple angles. We got some medevac drops going down. Things are getting pretty wild indeed. Hey, Farshawn, thank you for the kind words. Greatly appreciate it. And hopefully you guys are having fun with the event today. So far, we are just getting this party started. So crossbows, of course, will be pretty good against this Mongol army composition, but you're going to need some spears, and I think you need to make them nice and hard as well, because the soft spearmen here are not going to be very good against this this heavy lancer formation. I mean, yes, they can still get their bonus, but their HP is only 70, and yeah, they just lose out on a lot of stats. But I guess he was focusing more heavily on men-at-arms as his meat shield here, which is fine, so I guess that should do the trick. But yeah, we are going to be seeing the counter push. You can see the banked resources for ZG. 100% a major tell that we're going to see instantly like 3 or 4 Springalds, and here they come. So this is like probably the most common Mongol tactic I've been running into on ladder myself, and it's very, very tough to stop. It's the same reason why tier 3 Abbasids are hard to stop, right? It's because they just get all this crazy artillery right at tier 3, whereas the forces of Beastie are mainly going to be getting, you know, lancers and heavy cavalry, which do have the assets to move in there and shut down the Springalds. A lot of it's going to be positioning, but man, oh man, that is a ton of crossbows as well. Almost enough crossbows, maybe enough to actually just one-shot one of the big heavy knights here, but the Springalds are coming in, and we could even see a single battering ram. That might not be a bad idea for like pushing down outposts and things like this, because otherwise Springalds are pretty terrible at killing buildings. You can see one of the villagers does get picked off by the Springald right there, and are we going to be seeing the Ram of the Gods? No, ZG spent all of his wood here on the Springald, so pretty much his whole game is tied up in these. Like, he needs to keep these Springalds alive. If they just, like, die randomly, it's going to be, in the words of the Chappelle Show, game blouses here. So here comes the villagers getting into the outpost here. And, oh, look at this. The deer stones are being brought up. The Mongols have packed their landmark, and it's zooming across the map. And some of the old crossbowmen here are actually going down to the outpost. That's pretty nice. I mean, I guess you could send in these melee infantry, but I think he's a little bit kind of apprehensive about all the cavalry nearby. He wants to keep these infantry back here to protect the Springalds. So the Kurultai is coming out. Looks like the men-at-arms were thinking about pushing in. Men-at-arms are very, very tanky, so should be able to absorb that quite well. And look at that, the Deerstone being set up by ZG. So now he's going to be getting a pretty scary push. And look at the score equalize, man. Crazy. ZG actually even went ahead in the score simply because of the Springalds appearing from the shadows. They've been summoned from the depths of hell here. And now these villagers are going to be getting taken apart. The garrison villagers. And this is like just classic Mongols right now. This is very, very meta. So here they come. The men-at-arms moving in. The berry bushes are going to be denied. And the great Khan down here, Beastie, is going to be gathering his critical mass, trying to just crack this army with one go. And that Mangonel, oh, nice shot. Brutal mango shot. And yeah, he might have got him pretty good there with that. The Springalds are going to be swarmed by the heavy cavalry, and here comes the forces of ZG, but the Lancers are moving in. Springald's doing a little bit of a Tokyo drift in here, going in circles. The men-at-arms not super efficient against these heavy Lancers. The crossbows are, but man, oh man, what a really, really good fight here for Beastie, as his Lancers just get in there and punish that army super hard, and I feel like there needed to be a couple more spears in the mix. Granted, there are some basic archers as well for Beastie, but man, Beastie crushes that push with the heavy cavalry just riding down those units, and the men-at-arms were not efficient at peeling, and I think the Springalds were a little bit too up and ahead of the army here. Now, will ZG be able to come back from this? Certainly possible, but again, not going to be easy. That's going to be tough. Looks like men-at-arms and crossbows are coming out, the dreaded deer stones. Oh, and he gets the surround! Look at that! Oh my god, he surrounded the fleeing deer stones. That takes some very, very impressive micro right there. And he does surround that bad boy, and it is going to be trapped and getting circle beaten. And oh my god, it can't escape. Dude, that was very strong. Because man, ZG's push looked very scary, but the positioning, and I did not see the surprise Mangonel coming out. That Mango popped out and just like literally halved the health of all those crossbows, who should have probably been in loose formation. But again, hindsight's always easy to say, right? So the deer stones are shut down. He's going to have to come back here and repair those. Cutie with just the massive pick right there. Cutie, Beastieqt. I don't know, what does he go by? Does anybody know what like he likes to be referred to as? I guess Beastie is probably a little bit better there, but yeah, impressive work, impressive work. And now he's got the big, thick Lancer Corps, and those bad boys are going to be riding around looking for the goods, and we will see what they can accomplish. So here they come, circling back and forth and back and forth. Going to be jumping into the outpost perhaps, and yeah, I think it's going to be a tough hold. However, there's a slim chance, like if there's a lot of mismanagement here by Beastie, the Springalds could accrue massive value. Springalds are pretty good against heavy cavalry, actually. They do 60 damage a pop, so you can see like each couple volleys is going to be picking one of these guys off. They are forced back, and I think he might be able to just bull rush this down. Beastie? He prefers Beastie? Okay. Just Beastie, I think. You got it. All right, so we will refer to him as the Great Beastie. He goes by Genghis Khan. Yeah, that's his new name here. All right. Just calm, Cutie. Yeah, all right, we're all good. We're all good. So it looks like we got a berry expansion out here. We do also have the step redoubt being moved. And again, really cool thing about Mongols, like most civs, when you're kind of in a losing position and your landmarks are dying, you're like, oh well, I guess the game's over. But like I've actually had games where I get battering rams and I try and rush Mongols and kill their landmarks. Then they just pack up and run away. I'm like, wait a second, that's cheating. You're not allowed to do that. But it is quite good indeed. Yes, it is. So right now, Beastie just getting his bearings and just using his superior mobility to move around. Obviously, the army of ZG Light is much more static and has to be kind of deployed and have those good angles, but the Lancers are going to be able to establish pretty massive map control here. You can see there's a single Mangudai coming out for the forces of ZG Light, but Heavy Cavalry going to be taking out the OVO. Really good food economy going here, though, for ZG. He's actually doing better than Beastie in terms of the food. Everything else, I would say, favors Beastie, but it's a pretty negligible difference. It's only 200 food there. And now we're going to be getting more and more barracks, and I think ZG is going to be trying for round 2 on this push, and I have to say, ZG is doing a good job keeping up. Is this a tournament? Yes, this is. Is Cyril in this tournament? I do not believe so. We had we had a couple of professional StarCraft players and Grandmasters playing today. We also had some AoE 2 pros, and I mean, I don't know. I guess you could call some people AoE 4 pros at this point, but yeah, whoever was in the top of Genesis, yeah, you guys can be Age of Empires 4 pros at this point. So the Shaman's coming out, looking to grab some of them relics, and now we do have the prayer tent being set up here. Look at that. Isn't that cool? Dude, guys, so he brings the prayer tent like super speed down to the relic. He drops it off. That's actually a really clever tactic. Now, I wonder, the prayer tent probably keeps the relic when he moves it. I'm just learning all these cool little tricks right now. Is the prayer tent going to pack up again? Probably so. Look at that. And it just packs up and keeps the relic. And he just like moves around and grabs all these. And yeah, it looks like his opponent is doing the exact same thing. Yeah, you can see the prayer tent, or maybe no, that's his prayer tent. So yeah, he's doing it. Oh my God. Really cool plays here by ZG. And those relics certainly will potentially give him way back in this game, giving him that extra gold. But oh no! Oh, Beastie has seen this, and he is not going to let this slide. That tent is going to have to pack up and run super quick, or else it's going to get surrounded. Oh my God. If Beastie surrounds this tent, I'm going to be so impressed. Okay, it looks like the tent is, been taken in steroids, and that thing is going to be jamming right now. Man, look at that. Yeah, so he gets away with it. He didn't get that relic. Very good awareness by Beastie, though, not letting that happen, because that would have been very, very strong. So the Springald force moving over to intercept the Mongolian Lancer army, and here comes the Springald. He's going to be shooting in, picking off a couple. I don't know if those men-at-arms can even protect against this if he wanted to rush in. Okay, with the crossbows coming up, that would have changed the picture a little bit, but yeah, that's so funny. And it does keep the relic in it, so you can just like zip that thing around the map and like even make a religious character out of it and then like grab relics. That seems very, very strong. So in terms of the score, is anybody going Imperial Age? Let's go and take a look at Beastie here. Does not look like he is. He's actually getting his own Springalds now, and now he's got a Traction Trebuchet, he's got Mangonels, and he has that nasty, nasty core of Lancers. And the poor Deer Stones for ZG Light are just offline right here. So we will see what's going to be going on here. Age of Springalds, yes, it is. They are very strong. So Relic actually put out a post today saying that they're going to be adding ranked in the spring, but there is going to be a balance patch coming this winter, which is going to be nerfing hulks and buffing spearmen and crossbows. Because obviously we've seen that spearmen in many cases can be extremely ineffective against cavalry. They just kind of get mowed down, just due to the brute strength of cavalry. Unless like you're perfectly, bracing for the charges, like you really have to play quite perfectly with spearmen to counter cavalry, whereas cavalry can kind of just mouth breathe and just run down your spearmen, in my experience. We've seen that in a lot of these tournaments as well. So the Springalds, we got 7 Springalds here. Looks like a couple less. So it looks like, no, we actually got just 1 less. 6 Springalds, and the Deer Stones here will be giving the nice speed advantage to these forces. And now we do have the Traction Trebuchet going after the TC, and the TC is actually getting pretty beat up here. He's going to have to repair that. I wonder if we're going to have a Royal Rumble. So the Springalds are moving in, but there is going to be counterplay. The Springalds here will be blasting back, and it looks like there is a Springald lost for ZG Light. And Beastie is going to be moving in with the cavalry, but the crossbows are able to force him back, and I think we're just going to get a Royal Rumble here. Yeah, it looks like both players are going to go fisticuffs. Springalds are going to be trading into one another. The best way to use Springalds is to have 3-on-1. So you get your Springalds in groups of 3 and methodically snipe enemy Springalds 3-to-1, because 3 Springald shots will one-shot an enemy Springald here. But the Heavy Lancers are proving to be a bit of a difference maker here as they get in and force back those Springalds. The Traction Trebuchet is still going after the TC, and one of the TCs here for ZG Light has fallen. And that is going to be a pretty big advantage, as I would imagine that Beastie probably going to be looking to go to the next age here pretty soon. Although, let's see what kind of resources he's banking. No, it looks like he's just going all in. Yeah, he's going to be trying to end the game here in Castle Age. Springalds are forced back. The Mongol crossbows do still have some numbers here, but basic archers are a very good counter against crossbows. They can trade much more efficiently in my experience. They get +7 for slight melee infantry. They don't get any bonuses for his crossbows per se, but just from a cost perspective, obviously you have to invest gold in the crossbows, and just for the basic archers here, you don't. It's just wood and food, so pretty resources that you're going to have nonstop. And the big Lancers, again, proving to be the big difference makers. Getting into these guys, allowing the crossbows back here to just drop some serious shots. A Sacred Side attempt here, this Shaman going to be grabbing what relics he can, but I really think this might be the end of the road here for ZG. He's falling behind pretty massively, and the Deer Stone's pushing up, giving that constant speed advantage to the blue Mongol army. And yeah, these crossbowmen just being taken apart by the archers methodically. One by one, they take them down. Basic archers do have a tile range of 5, I believe. Crossbowmen have a tile range of 5 as well. For some reason, I used to think that basic archers had a little bit further. Attack speed is 1.5. I think that's where they have the edge. In game 1, it's going to be going to Beastieqt in the Mongol mirror match. GG, well played. Yes, that is it. Yeah, so there's probably going to be a balance patch before Christmas. Like, I would say before Christmas. So sometime in the next 3 or 4 weeks, which is good. And I would imagine they'll address many of the issues. All right, so let's take a look at the score overall. There was a window where ZG was right here kind of creeping up with that Springald push, but the Lancers riding down the crossbows, the Mangudai shot all over their faces. That was pretty brutal for sure. So let me go ahead and chat with the players here and make sure that the next group of players does not start the event. Looks like the top side of the bracket is still being decided, man. That's crazy. So Vortix, make sure to wait for me to cast before you to start. So stand by. Alrighty. Very good. So let's go ahead and update the scorecard here. That is going to be 1 game for Beastieqt. It is a best of 3. So now I'll walk the players through the ban phase now. So Beastieqt, now it is your turn to ban. And players cannot repeat civs, so no need to ban Mongols. I know the Genesis tournament let players play the same faction over and over if they lost with it, but in this tournament you can't. So that's one of the differences. Sounds good. And they're doing it through private messages. No problem. You're all good, my friend. Let's get ready for this next game. Yes, good. Dude, those freaking... The speed of the Mongolian buildings is so funny how quick they are. Yeah, Springalds do need a nerf. They're a little bit overtuned. Now they're very, I mean, you saw the Springald build lose. I mean, when that fight happened, there was actually no Springalds on the forces of Beastie, right? And he still stomped that army horribly. Like enough heavy cavalry or light horsemen can definitely dominate Springalds. But I think they're a little bit overtuned, especially on some maps where there's a lot of choke points. They get really obnoxious. Yeah. Rus have really good Springalds too, because at the High Armory, their Age 4 landmark, they can actually get the extra range. So their Springald range goes up to like 14 or like 13.5, whereas enemy Springalds who aren't Rus max out at 12. So with very good control, Rus artillery in the late game can actually do very well. But again, Mongols usually don't care about that because their Springalds are 25% faster because of their YAM network. So they can close that distance like almost instantly. Yeah. It's been a long time since you were able to catch a stream. Welcome, man. Happy to have you here. I keep up with the videos after the uploads. I'm doing great, man. Thank you for asking. You got an exam tomorrow. It's 2 a.m. here. Oh, man, get some rest. Get some rest, dude. This will be here for you afterwards. Yeah, get some rest, man. You got to nail that exam, brother. What was banned in the first game? So the Mongol player banned the French and English. Yeah. And yeah, now we're going, man. We are going. Yeah, Springalds are good. They certainly need support. You can't just like mass a whole army of Springalds and just like win the day, right? But they're very, very strong. So players are setting up the next lobby for the current match. Looks like they're getting that started. Yeah, they're talking. People in chat are talking. They're talking about, I just build outposts everywhere. Yeah, the deer stones can be moved. That is the advantage they have, correct. So you can bring them with your army. There was a little bit of a meta for the Mongols when the game first was kind of coming out, like the first week of launch, when Mongol players were actually using the Kurultai instead. So instead of the step redoubt, they were doing very aggressive timing pushes with Kurultai, which gives your entire army 25% damage as well as healing. But I think the step redoubt has made its kind of solid presence known. The amount of extra gold you get from that is just, I think, too good to pass up on for paying for lancers, crossbowmen, expensive artillery, all that sort of good stuff. So yes, timer blocker, you got it. Thank you for the reminder. Greatly appreciate it. So let me go ahead and do this and get a picture here. And blocker. Alrighty. Thanks once again for joining. I do not think Abbasid need any buffs. I think they're quite strong. Yeah, I think they're quite good. All right, one sec, guys. Just trying to find a picture here to block it with. I could use Chuck Norris. He's always there. He's always ready. But I think we'll just use the old logo for now. So one sec, guys. All right. And let me adjust that up in the top corner. Hopefully this will do a good job of blocking the timer. If it doesn't, let me know, guys. We'll adjust it as we do get into the match here. All right. So I'm curious what the picks are going to be. You cannot repeat civs here, so neither of them can play Mongols. I would imagine there will be some French here. Probably at least one French. Wouldn't it be funny if we just got like a French mirror match? Oh my God. Last week there was only 8 players. No, there was like 90 players or something, yeah. No, we only cast the top 4 of the tournament, but typically there's like anywhere between 60 and 90 players for these tournaments. I would say that's pretty standard so far. at least for like the size of this tournament, because today's prize pool is $200. But there are like, you know, basically the more money you put into the event for the prize pool, the bigger it's going to be, like in terms of players. But petition for my mullets. I don't have a mullet right now, although my hair is getting pretty damn long. I could probably, if you gave me another like 3 or 4 months, I could grow like a fat mullet. It'd be pretty beast mode. Yeah, it'd be pretty thick. If one picks French, it'll be a mirror. You know, we have seen English being picked against French to pretty good effect. Mongols also not bad against them. But again, we just saw the Mongols, so neither player can play the Mongols again. So, I don't know. We will see. We will see. So, Delhi Sultanate's another one. Depending on the map, Delhi can actually do very, very well. Yeah, I feel like Delhi has some good tools against French because the amount of pressure you can put on sacred sites early like kind of forces them to attack that instead of your base. So, yeah, I think Delhi Sultanate has some good tools against the French. I feel like China does need some buffs too. Very minor ones. Like, you never want to like over buff or over nerf things. Like, it's a very easy thing in terms of like a community outrage when something just seems super OP, but like if you just like nerf it into the ground, it's like, yeah, it's not a good approach for the game. Like just passive nerfs until you get where you want to be, like small ones. Yeah. What is it? Oh, I love spaghetti. Yeah, spaghetti is one of my favorite foods, man. I'm half Italian, so you gotta love spaghetti. Does it have any civ bans? Yes, so the players in best of 3 have a pick and ban. So essentially in the first game, player 1 picks 1 and bans 2 civilizations. So we saw Mongols banning English and French. Now, the second game here, the other player is going to be doing picks and bans. And if it goes to rubber match, then it becomes a blind pick with the remaining civilizations they haven't played. So that is our current format that we're experimenting with. And so far, I haven't heard any complaints about it. So it must be good. Yeah, or at least decent. All right, let's see what they're saying. Correct. All right, so let's go look at challenge and see who made it to the top. Looks like, I don't know. I don't think anybody's gotten to the top side yet. No, nope. It's still 3DB battling Fusaria. So the gentleman who is competing to get to the top spot right now in the bracket, let me go ahead and show you guys here. So let's go to news. 3DB right here, this gentleman who's trying to, you know, battle against the great Fusaria here, who defeated Mixu, mind you, is coming up to battle Vortix, maybe. But he is a Chinese main, which would be very, very interesting to see. All right, let's see if the players are in the match. It looks like they are about to be. Where art thou? And they are. So let's get into this game, have some fun. Thanks again for joining. And here we go. It's going to be the French, led by Beastieqt, facing off against the Delhi Sultanate, who's going to be helmed by ZG Light. Now, this is the Hill and Dale, so this is a choke point map. So this is pretty good for the Delhi Sultanate in terms of like surviving the French pressure. It's still not easy by any stretch of the imagination, but it is important. Now, on the south side, we do have our French champion, again, Beastieqt, facing off against ZG Light and the Delhi Sultanate, which is interesting because ZG was telling me before the games, he's like, I really only know how to play Mongols very well. So I'm quite curious to see what he's going to be mixing up here with the Delhi Sultanate. So we got a Mosque coming out. A little bit of a different build order. Typically, most Delhi players, including myself, granted I'm not the best example, but when we saw like Lucifron and Vortix in the, I can't remember who was playing Delhi a lot, but they basically open with a double Mosque and then we'll get their production buildings immediately. Because you want to get the free research like going right out of the gates, right? So setting up next to the berry bushes to get the wheelbarrow going and also setting up your lumber camp ASAP to get forestry going is very big. Now, for the Delhi Sultanate, they have Sanctity, they have Efficient Production, Piety, and Herbal Medicine. Now, the ones that are really good are Sanctity, because it allows you to capture sacred sites before the Castle Age, and Efficient Production. So, a little bit of a misplay, perhaps. I don't think he started on these. Let's see. Yeah, big misplay by the Delhi. Yeah, there it is. Okay, good. So, you need to start on that upgrade right away, because honestly, every second matters when you're going to be getting that early pressure. So, the mill is being set up. French are just going to be French, and they're going to be doing their standard stuff. Just setting up, mining camp, going for food, going to tier 2, getting School of Cavalry, massing knights, backed up by basic archers, and just trying to win the game. That's typically what most French players do. And it's incredibly strong because I think the French knights are a little bit overtuned, so they backed up by archers can be devastating. Because honestly, French knights against like early spearmen, they still like with good micro can actually defeat the spearmen pretty decisively unless you have like big numbers of them. And, feudal age archers aren't going to do much of anything. So it looks like we are seeing the double mosque build, a little bit delayed, mind you. But the second mosque is going to be coming out, which allows him to get the efficient production, which means when he hits tier 2, he can garrison his scholars like immediately in his barracks or his archery range to mass out those units. Now, what I would really like to see would be an early barracks, getting some spearmen and trying to take the sacred sites. In my experience, that's been pretty good against French. And this is actually a great one to wall, too. You could just like have a wall here and a wall over the top. and you could trap that sacred site in there and do some nasty stuff. So some of you guys in chat saying that, you know, maybe we're going to see a medevac drop from Beastie. For those of you guys who followed him in StarCraft, what was his main race? Did he play Terran? Is he a Zerg player? I'd be curious. I would be curious indeed. Could you raise the game volume a bit? Yeah, sure. In between games, I can raise it a tiny bit. Or as a matter of fact, I think I can do that right now because it's a very low point in the game. Very, very calm. So we'll put the volume up ever so slightly. I don't want to go too crazy on that, but hopefully that will help, my friend. So School of Cavalry is coming up. Here it is. The big, thick French cavalry will be coming out with their heavy armor, looking to put some pressure. Wheelbarrow is being researched for free here for the Delhi Sultanate. And Forestry has not been started, so a little bit of a misplay there as well. You need to get that forestry going. It's a very quick upgrade, so even with the free kind of delay that the Delhi have on their upgrades, it's still only 3 minutes, so you could basically get that right away. And that's one of the reasons why I like to see that building like ASAP, but he's still getting some of the base upgrades, right? He's got Sanctity, Piety coming in, and over here he does have the Efficient Production and the Herbal Medicine, also going for a little bit of gold, so probably banking on the fact that he's not going to be able to get Sacred Control, because you can often go a little bit lighter on gold if you're planning on getting Sacred Control on the map, but we will see. Beastie's a random player. He plays every race but mains Terran. Copy that. Thank you, thank you. All right, so the French Knights soon to be coming out. We are at the 3 minute and 23 second mark, and the French are about halfway down with their landmark. The Delhi Sultanate has not even started yet on their landmark, which is slightly concerning. I would imagine he's going to have enough resources soon, and it looks like now he is getting enough. No early pressure on the old sacred sites, though. It looks like the scouts are looking around, and the scout here for Beastie, yeah, is up here looking at the sacred sites, making sure there's no early Delhi pressure. But we will see if a barracks is going to be coming out. Nope, Dome of Faith is going to be picked. Dome of Faith is hands down the best landmark for Delhi in terms of the age 2 options. You have the Tower of Victory, which if other civs had it, it might be good. But really the Dome of Faith is just so essential because it gives you your scholars at half price, which allows you to fill up your mosques. So the way that Delhi works is the more scholars you have in your mosques, the faster you get your free research. Because otherwise it takes like, you know what, like 6-7 minutes for some of these. So you need to use the Dome of Faith not only to fill up your mosques, but also to make extra scholars to put them in your barracks to get faster production, or to control sacred sites on the map, or to heal your big elephants. Like there's a ton of utility you get out of the Delhi scholars here. So Dome of Faith is up. The dreaded French have gotten their first cavalry unit coming out. So the Royal Knight will be crossing the map here. And that's one of the things that's so strong about Royal Knights is it really forces people back into their cage, right? So then the French can kind of take whatever they want on the map. They can go for greedy deer camps. They can, you know, go out here and take this. They could just get on this gold node if they want to. And most players, as soon as they see a French Knight, just have this like intuitive thing, like I need to hide in my base. I need to not die to this. So I've seen games where French players will sometimes only build like 2 or 3 of them, and then they'll just like, you know, macro on the map and get double TC, and like you're still afraid of those 3 knights so much that you're forced back into your base, which is very, very nasty. Yeah, they said over 100 balance changes are coming. Correct. Yeah, so there is going to be a balance patch coming. It was confirmed by Relic today, and it's going to be in the winter, they said. So that means probably before, you know, Christmas time, I would imagine. And then in the spring, so maybe, you know, February, March, we're probably going to be getting ranked mode added into the game, which is fine. I'm not too concerned about that aspect of things. I'm glad the bounce patch is coming sooner because, you know, ranked is cool and it's going to be really fun, but it's not, we still have leaderboards here. We have a quick battle system that is MMR based and is much better than a lot of games these days, honestly. And yeah, so I don't think that's that big of a deal. So Chivalry is not coming out early. The first knights are riding across the map. It looks like we do have a very chivalrous Royal Knights approaching the Delhi base. And the Delhi taking up a very defensive posture. Spearmen will rush in, and you can see one villager almost gets taken out. Dude, look at that. Look at that absolute tank of a woman just eating a lance to the face and just tanking it like an absolute boss. Spearmen, though, are going to have trouble keeping up, especially with someone who has really good micro like Beastie. He's going to be pressuring the gold back here. Now, what's really cool about Delhi is if you get the early sacred sites, you don't necessarily have to worry about, you know, having dudes on gold here. And you can see here the town center is going to be shooting into the Royal Knight. One spearman going back there to defend. We got 3 or 4 spearmen here in the front, and they should be able to keep the French knights at bay. Also, Delhi can build walls, so if they wanted to, they could wall off like these chokes, with even using their spearmen. But here, Beastie going to be doing the big old victory lap, riding around his opponent's base. Efficient production is done, so the scholars can now garrison, but it looks like these scholars, excuse me, got a little bit of a hiccup right there. But the scholars are being moved into the mosques, I think. Yeah, it looks like it. And now is he going to go out after a sacred site? It's a bold strategy, Cotton. I think the 3 or 4 French knights can decisively defeat 3 or 4 spearmen. But you're going to need more spearmen for this. And now it looks like there's a scholar coming out. They are going to be making their way to a sacred site here on the hill and dale. It is quite some time before you get there. And this is the annoying thing, right? Like as soon as you leave the base, The Knights are just going to be cackling all the way to the bank and just riding into your units. And now he's got to come back. He's trapped in his base. That's why I think it's really important with Delhi to get the map control with your scholars earlier. Like, in the Dark Ages, you're moving out with a scholar and a couple spearmen to get those sacred sites, because otherwise it's going to be too hard to move out of your base, and the French are just going to ride circles around you and, definitely give some problems. So there's one spearman here. He is able to kind of halt the advance of that. Very, very brave spearman, and the French Knights are getting worn down, but again, chivalry is coming. For some reason, French Knights can magically mend their wounds, so they have some, I guess, something going on in that regard, but because they're chivalrous, their wounds close automatically. Yes, indeed. So this brave spearman, he is getting out there. Probably is going to want to change his pace here. Create a wall here would be very nice. Let's look at the wood. I mean, I guess ZG is banking a fair amount of wood. He could easily set up some palisades, and Delhi would love to do that, right? Just sit in there and look at this. The French are actually building palisades. I wonder if they're fearing some sort of retribution from the Delhi. Like right now, the current resources for the Delhi are a little bit rough. Yeah, let's see. No, he's doing all right, but Beastie's killing it, and it looks like Beastie is going to be going to Castle Age. I think that's his plan. Just like a fast Castle Age. Yep, look at that. He's banking food. He's banking gold. The Delhi is kind of playing very, very defensive here. I do like, though, that he is not like... He's trying to get out and go do things. He's going to need to leave a couple spearmen. Certainly more than 2 to deal with these guys. They will brace their spears, although one of them does just charge in like a champion. But you see what I'm saying? The French Knights just cut through spearmen like butter, especially since Delhi usually is a little bit delayed on their upgrades. Yeah, he's going to be forcing him off, and it looks like they are going to be going for the Sacred Site now. So that's good. That will give him a lot of gold, and it will potentially get the French out of his base, but he's going to need way, way more spearmen to deal with this, because the French are just all over this. And he leaves one Royal Knight here. Very, very annoying. That's potentially going to be just shutting down these berry bushes all by itself. So the Scholar and the Spearman jumping on the Sacred Site. We do have the Spearman up there as well. Unfortunately, though, the Scholar is a little bit out of position. Looks like one of the French Knights may be coming in here. That Scholar needs to get on the Sacred Site. Needs to capture it. Oh, my. Get there. Get that Sacred Site. And the problem is if you overchase this cavalry unit, this poor Scholar is going to get rode down by a lone French Knight, but he has not moved on. Obviously, he's dealing with a lot of pressure in his base. These Knights are still riding around. He set up an outpost back here, which is good. Another barracks coming in. But behind all of this, Beastie is probably just saving up for Castle Age. Yeah, he's 500 or 600, 500 right now. More and more villagers are going to be getting massacred by these French Knights, and he needs to get that Sacred Site to kind of compensate for this and maybe even set up some walls around it. He's got 300 wood. Why the hell not, right? So the Knights moving in. They are getting shot by the TC, but the TC is not that great at dealing with the heavy armor. The French Knights, of course, are quite thick, and now they're getting into the lumber lines, although some of them will go down to the TC maybe, although really good micro by Beastie, man. He's pulling back all these units, and really, I don't think losing much at all. Nonetheless, the Sacred Site is getting in there, and there you go. So that Sacred Site is captured. That's going to be giving 200 gold a minute because Delhi has a unique upgrade called Sanctity, which means not only can they capture earlier, but they also get 100% more gold from that. So that's a very, very nice one. So 2 mosques are full. No, just 1 mosque at the moment is filled up. Not even all the way. The French are coming in once again with their cavalry. And honestly, Beastie is just so persistent with these pressures, man. And the Sacred Site's going to be held. Now he's going to waddle over to the other Sacred Site. This is good. That's going to give him quite a bit of gold. Income per minute will reflect that for ZG here in a hot minute. The French are a little bit ahead in many regards, but there are a couple spearmen here now, and they should be able to kind of defend against the French Knights. So finally, there's enough spearmen here to hold them back. And the French Knights do have chivalry, I believe. Yeah, they have chivalry, so they're going to be healing. Apparently, they've taken a sip of that Grail juice, and they will be getting that up. Yeah, very, very nasty stuff. So even the little poking damage you get, these guys will be healing, and it should kick in a second. Yep, the HP is ticking back up. Sacred Site's going to be grabbed here. This other Sacred Site generating quite a bit of gold, but this is good. I'm very, very happy he was able to move out, because if he just stayed in his base, he would have 100% lost the game, and it would have been very one-sided. But now that he's actually playing the map a little bit with this the Spearman force that are nice and hard, but he needs to leave the Scholar there. Is he going to move the Spearman back over to try and shut down these Knights? I don't think they'll get there fast enough, so I think just capturing this Sacred Site is going to be good. And I don't know if we're going to see any walls. I think a couple little palisades out on the wings, or even build a marketplace and buy like 200 stone or something just to set up stone walls. That really will force the French to fight you head on. So Sacred Site's being captured. It looks like in terms of banked resources, no, okay, it looks like Beastie has changed his mind here. I don't think he's going to be going castle. It looks like he's decided to go more or less all in. He's going to be pulling an archer. So what you're going to need to stop this is like an outpost here, because those archers will massacre these spearmen. And that's the classic, just basic strategy you do against, cavalry defenses, right? Like most people will be like, oh, I'm going to, bring cavalry. Well, I'm going to get spears. Well, now I'm going to rock, paper, scissors you with my archers. And those archers are scooting and shooting. The Scholar is a very beastly man, eating about 30 arrows before he goes down. And both Sacred Sites are going to be taken. Granted, they did still give the Delhi a fair amount of gold. Now Delhi is mustering out their own archers, which is good. I mean, that is the defense here. But that is a scary mass of French Knights that are healing. And that's going to be a lot to stop. So here they come, moving into the berry bushes here. A couple spearmen stand and fight. Archers shooting in, but archers will do very little damage. The Delhi do have a lot of spearmen, and one of the French knights is dragged down, but I think they took some pretty substantial eco damage. I would really, really like to see some walls here. And it looks like they're going to sally forth and fight, which is interesting. I don't know how that would go. Yeah, the Delhi losing a couple units there to a little bit of a miss micro, but nonetheless, the Scholar being pathed out as well. I'm not sure where he was going. Maybe he's trying to join the fight for a little bit of healing. The Scholar does tank those lances in the face, and that's nice, and he's able to do it for the people. And the spearmen are now hard on the hunt here, going after these archers, and a couple of the archers will be dragged down, whereas the French knights are going to circle around. Probably nice control, though. ZG moving those spears to screen that while keeping his other spears chasing down these archers. Not a bad play at all. So Beastie does have the resources to go third age. He's building the guild hall right now. The spearmen getting cut apart by the French knights here. You can see one of the French knights does get dragged down here, but obviously it's a critical mass of very, very powerful units. And the archers, more or less safe. They didn't take too much damage. You need some horsemen, and now the French knights are going to get into the base here of Delhi, and that is going to be a big, big problem. He is putting the scholars into his military buildings, which will increase production by 100%. But man, yeah, these archers, they're quite numerous. Spearmen chasing them down. There are more archers in the base trying to pick off the French knights, but you can see they pretty much do almost no damage, and the French knights moving in and just picking them apart as the spearmen continue to try and hunt. Another French knight does fall. Score is relatively even. I would say, oh man, these villagers, are they going to get picked apart by these archers? That would have been very, very disastrous, but this is tough. I think getting some walls on the flanks would be super valuable, man. You can see here the French player's done it, and like he's not even worried about being attacked, but he still did it as a precaution, right? Because giving your opponent that mobility to like circle around your base like this, like you don't need to give them that. Like he could force them into a choke, set up a single outpost here, tech, and have a much, much smoother experience, I would say. Yeah, Beastie certainly has some very good control. I agree with that. I definitely think the French are in a massive, massive like lead right now. Like they're just killing it, and Delhi's going to be hard pressed to come back for sure. They didn't contest the map enough early, and obviously I think not walling off is a big mistake. Like Delhi is a powerhouse in late game and can certainly rival the French late game, if not be better than them. But the fact that the harass was allowed to go on for so long, I mean, not allowed to. Look, it's very hard to stop it from high level players. Like Beastie, like that's going to be incredibly tough to stop. The same thing would have happened to me. The same thing would have happened. But I think you got to be a little bit more defensive if the Knights are pressing you like that. It's still a very hard matchup. I mean, the Knights are just so oppressive, man. So this Delhi Scholar trying to drop some heals here. We have a little bit of skirmishing out in open field. That one Delhi Spearman did like a backflip and tried to like, karate chop that Knight, but then he got taken out pretty good. Spearman moving in, and the one Knight getting kind of low. Delhi can produce units very quickly, so the Spearmen are coming out. The Scholar has been picked off. And now we can see ZG trying to get some control here and get these deer camps. But now we're going to be getting veteran Royal Knights. And on top of that, the archers will probably be veterans soon. And we're going to be seeing maybe even some men-at-arms to come in, honestly. Men-at-arms would just steamroll this army. Beastie with some very good control. Both players scrapping very, very well. I mean, it's a tough fight. Beastie is a very powerful opponent here. And it looks like the deer camp has been set up. I don't know if Delhi's going to be able to hold this, though. I feel like the superior French quality of having the veteran level units versus the feudal age units is going to be too much to handle. And those knights are just, man, with the cycle charging and healing, because French knights get a bonus after they charge. So literally cycle charging, yeah, it's just very, very strong. Delhi still, though, quite tenacious here, pushing back, and the French are taking some casualties. Maybe we're going to see an outpost set up here to try and control this, but man, oh man, the score is very, very strong in the favor of the French, and they are just cackling here on the gold. Oh my god, like you can see 2 gold here for Delhi, and just look at the gold production coming in here for the French. On top of that, the guild hall is here, I think. Yeah, the guild hall is generating food right now, which is just banking even more of a late game advantage, and the Delhi actually very, very impressively hold, but I don't know what else they're going to be able to do. So a Delhi outpost is getting set up here in the middle. I think they're going to try and get some sacred site control. Current resources for ZG, he is nowhere near going to the next age. He actually switched to a bit of a farm economy, which you kind of have to if you're put on the back foot like that and you feel as if your opponent's going to be trapping you in the base. But very impressive hold. Many players would have crumbled under that French pressure, but he still held. Granted, the French still have a very, very strong force. And their economics is just going to be absolute lunacy here. As the French Knights using their powerful healing here in the shadows, we could actually do a little bit of fast forwarding since we joined a little bit late to the game. So you can see here the Delhi forces trying to grab that sacred site. Scholars coming out. I don't know if they could actually hold the French response. We will see if the French are even mustering an army anymore. And it looks like the French are getting just a bunch of knights here. And it looks like they're going to come out. I will go back to basic speed once we get close to the battle. And here they come. So the French knights, will they be able to crack this Delhi force? It looks like those archers took the brunt of that, which is certainly not fun for them. Delhi may be able to hold this. A couple of the French archers are going down. The spearmen are heavy in pursuit, but they are veteran archers against, feudal age archers. The sacred site has been captured. More and more spearmen are coming out, but I think this is going very, very well I mean, the upgraded French Knights, and yeah, the French Knights have 1/1 upgrades too, I think, it looks like. Yeah, so they have gotten an armor and a melee upgrade. They get the melee upgrade for free. And Delhi, I don't know, you know, a little bit of a mistake as well. I don't think Delhi got their blacksmith upgrades going. Yeah, big blunder right there. He could have like 2/2 upgrades right now for the Delhi Sultanate, which is one of their biggest advantages, right? And like, despite all this, you know, ZG is holding very well against a top-level player, and he himself is as well. He said he doesn't play many civs other than Mongols. But yeah, he is paying the price a little bit now. I mean, he needs to get those upgrades going, get the blacksmith. It looks like he does get that now. Even a double blacksmith for Delhi is very, very prudent and can certainly do a good job for you. But he holds it somehow, which is crazy. Like, he's just kind of hanging on. But man, Beastie is doubling his score right now. And now we see a Dread Legion. Look at this. The Dread Legion of the French are amassing. There's more archers, more knights. Like, most French players just do this the entire game. Just knights and archers, and that's it. Like, you rarely... And then when they get to age 4, you see some crazy, like, artillery mixed in, obviously, because French get royal artillery for 20% more damage. So the knights just going to be riding down reinforcements right here. Pretty brutal stuff. Now, here they come back to the... villagers, and Delhi's trying to get another sacred site. No, it looks like there's a sacred battle, but this French knight's going to give this scholar the business. So I don't care how many books you read, you're not going to be able to defeat this guy in combat. And down he goes. Down you go, little buddy. Down you go. On the other side, it looks like the French are now playing the sacred game, so they are moving in, and there's going to be an aggressive keep from the French. Man, they're just so far ahead. It looks like finally the Delhi does reach the castle age. Dumbo might come out, but I think it's a little bit too late for Dumbo. We do need to see the House of Learning and these other upgrades coming in, but yeah. This has got to be GG here. I don't see the Delhi coming back from this. Now there's just a bunch of angry French knights riding around your base with lances couched, and that is going to be a 2-0 victory here for Beastieqt with a very decisive win there. Well played to his opponent, though. ZG played a great series. Obviously, he said he only really plays Mongols. He told me this before his game. He doesn't play other civs. So it's tricky when you get put in a best of 3 and you have to like play things you're not used to. But I'm sure he'll be practicing and we'll see him back. Very well played, ZG. Went through some very strong opponents today. And Beastie obviously was showing some incredible micro, very good timings, and excellent decision making. So we can make it official. Let's go ahead and do it to it. Beastie has won 2-0. And now the top side of the bracket has been decided. So we will be moving on over to that in just a second. Let's go ahead and go to the top 4. It's going to be Vortix facing off against Fusaria. All right. And that is set. Beastie will be advancing on to the grand finals to face the winner of Vortex and Fusaria. 3DB, our Chinese champion, has fallen. So the odds of seeing China are certainly far less now. Granted, maybe Vortex has got some Chinese tricks up his sleeve. We will find out here. Now let me go ahead and chat with the players. All right, so Fusaria, please add me on AoE 4. Turin HRE banner. Alrighty, so we'll get this next match started in just a second. Vortex, you are already my friend. Tell him to add me. And spec slot with no delays. Alrighty, so let's hang tight for a second while I get this next game going. And we will do it to it. Thank you all for joining once again. We are going to be having a lot of tournaments. On Saturday, I'm doing a Total War Warhammer tournament. So for those of you guys who found me through Age of Empires, if you want to see kind of the history of this channel, we are going to be doing some Total War Warhammer. And then on Sunday, I might even do another Age tournament. But I'm thinking something like a 2v2 tournament or something a little bit different. All right, so have I been added by the gentleman? Let us see. Looks like he has not sent me a friend request quite yet. All right, cool. So let me make sure they're not in the game. It looks like he's in the lobby with his opponent. And to add. Excellent. So just getting ready for the next match. The next best of 3 where the players will do their picks and bans. Finals is best of 3 as well. I think for future weekly tournaments, I am going to be switching the grand finals to best of 5. Although I found that if all the best of 3s go like, you know, to game 3 and they're long grindy games, the stream can be like still 6 hours, even with best of 3s. And I usually like to keep my streams to like a more like 4 to 5 hour range. Like going longer than that can be a little bit tough on the old hands. Yeah, isn't there a TV show coming out for Wheel of Time? The French Knights. Every single French Knight is named Chad. Okay. It's pretty funny. Alrighty, so let's do it. Don't know if he's on my friends list. With HRE, champ, and high level. All right. Just working with the players here to get the next match going. Hey, Fair Sean, thank you for the 50 DKK. Shout out from the ridiculous micro from the Beast from the East. And thank you for casting this turn. GG, well played from Denmark. Hey, man, appreciate that. Yeah, we're here to stay. We're here to stay. We're going to be having a lot of fun games. But yeah, I'm thinking of a 2v2 tournament. You know, I'm thinking for 2v2, it might be a little bit more interesting if people picked a combined civilization. So in the 2v2, they both have to play the same civ. Like, so then it's just like a bigger scale battle. Although then you do lose the complementary aspects of civs that can really, really kind of buff the other one. Yeah. You gotta send to me. All right. Let me see if I can find his name here. Just give me 1 second. Having a little bit of trouble adding this gentleman. I think he's plays by Fuser or something like that. All right. And he's got a very, very impressive ranking for sure. I will add him. And there you go. Cool. And all set. Unable to add. Did it work? Did he get added to my friends list here? I really hope they add some sort of a spectator feature where I can just, you know, basically sit in a lobby with the guys. That would definitely be a lot easier. Hopefully in time they'll do that. Hopefully they will. All right, so we're all set. He has added me. Now the players can get started. Start when ready. No delay. Ob slot open. Good luck, have fun. All right, so we're going to be starting our next series here. Let's go ahead and update the nameplates to get the new players in here. It's going to be Vortix facing off against Fusaria. Appears to be his name. His name sounds familiar. Is Fusaria a really high-level Age of Empires player? What RTS game does he come from? For some reason, his name, I recognize it. And he's had an absolute tear today. I mean, Fusaria... Fusaria, let's go through his games while we wait for them to get started here. So looking at him... He defeated Matisse, who's probably the best Holy Roman Empire player in the community. Really, really strong. He defeated Mixu. He defeated 3DB. And now he's facing Vortix. Like, he had a very tough bracket. Like, there was no easy matches for him the entire day. Yeah. Nothing was free for him. Yeah. It's pretty exciting. All right, so they're in the lobby. As soon as they get this game going, we'll be good to go. It's Fuser from StarCraft. Oh, okay. StarCraft 2. Copy that. StarCraft 2. Yeah, I used to watch a lot of StarCraft esports back in like 2011 and 12. You know, back when, you know, In Control was playing, Idra was playing, Huck was another one. Yeah, like all those guys, yeah. So I used to follow it very closely, like, like 10 years ago? But after Wings of Liberty, I kind of stopped watching StarCraft a lot. When Legacy, you know, Heart of the Swarm and Legacy of the Void, I didn't really follow it too much. Like, I don't even know what a lot of the new units do after that, but I was very into it in the beginning. I used to just sit there, just order a fat pizza, lay the pizza on my stomach and just watch all night. Yeah, it was good. Have you tried the priest inside of an outpost? No. Can he actually do? No, you can't do it from in. Can you? No, you can't get him in an outpost. But you could like ambush with him, right? So you could have like, you could have the priest like in the outpost and then he like jumps out. Yeah, In Control was the man. Yeah, he was the man. I actually got to meet him in person. It was really cool. In Control is the reason why I started playing Warhammer 40K on tabletop. I was at an event with him. God, it must have been like 4 years ago. I can't remember, but we were sharing a cab to the airport after the event, and he was telling me about Death Guard and like and the lore behind them and like competitive 40K, and you know I got into it from there. So, all right, here we go. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we have a duel between the Mongols, who shall be led by Vortix, facing off against the Rus, who shall be helmed by Fuser. So a classic match. I feel like Rus and Mongols always end up against one another, but we will see how this battle unfolds. This is our second best of 3 of the day, and after this we have the best of 3 grand finals. So it should be quite interesting to see how that series does indeed unfold. Who beat Lucifron today? I don't know who defeated... I think Beastie did. Yeah, Beastie defeated Lucifron. I was watching that game. It was Beastie on the... was he on the French? He was on the French or the English. Yeah, and he did a battering ram all in. And I believe Lucifron was playing Chinese that game. So obviously he wasn't playing like one of his main civs, but nonetheless, still a very, very impressive win. So for the Mongols, pretty standard opening. It looks like it's going to be more eco-Mongols. Typically, if you're going to be seeing rush Mongols, you see a very, very early lumber gathering. So you can set up that, you know, stables or that barracks here real quick. But It looks like it is going to be more of an eco-based Mongols build. He's probably just going to get enough wood to set up his Gare here to get the gold and then just like tech to tier 2. Now for the Rus, very standard opening as well. We see the hunting cabin coming out first to instantly start that gold production, but more importantly, it allows you to get a second scout. And for the Rus, you really want to have that juicy map vision, running around with the scout, looking for all the goodies and trying to, take down these deer, which, I don't know, maybe Vortix will try and deny this. Doesn't look like he will. Looks like the Khan's going to be riding by, and we might see the rapid fire shooting. So you see this? This is the rapid fire scout shooting. So this takes a little bit of micro, but basically if you've played StarCraft or Warcraft or pretty much any RTS game, you can rapid fire your scout against these deer, because if you stand still, it takes like 3 times as long. But you can move and shoot, and it actually rapid fires. I don't know if that's a bug or something they intended to be like that, but I have a feeling it's probably going to get changed, because I don't think it's supposed to work like that. But for Rus players, it is a very essential trick. And yeah, we'll see what it can do for him, man. Thank you all for joining. Yes, welcome. It's going to be fun, man. Yeah, we had a French versus Chinese game. Yeah, so obviously Chinese, in my experience, the biggest weakness of China is dealing with tier 2 all-ins. It's very tough. I just feel like they don't have the tools that other civs have to deal with it. They don't really have anything unique aside from the officials that they can use that. And the officials can mass produce archers because you can increase the efficiency of buildings. But overall, I find that most Chinese players really struggle to survive when it comes to that early pressure. So here, the Mongols in the south, still just going food and gold, very standard. Yeah, so we're not going to be seeing any early pressure. Obviously, in the first Gran Turino weekly we had, the winner was a Mongolian player. I believe it was Nyan Racing Cat. And he was just doing crazy amounts of Dark Age pressure. Like, he would build the stables and just build like a bunch of scouts and a bunch of horsemen and just be going crazy, building outposts in his opponent's base in the beginning. And it was very powerful, but I feel like the Mongol meta after Genesis might have shifted a little bit. I mean, we see a little bit of Dark Age play, but I feel like a lot of Mongol players see the power of getting a fast Castle Age and then just going crazy with the siege engineering and those type of pushes and things like that. But yeah, Rus definitely had a rough run in some of the bigger tournaments recently. I feel like maybe they've fallen down. A lot of people kind of put Rus up at the S tier, A+ tier. But I've seen many assessments from high-level players kind of saying Rus might be like more of a B or lower A tier civ now. After people have kind of gotten a little bit more used to the meta. But I do like the Kremlin. A lot of Rus players go really crazy getting the old Golden Gate, because obviously the utility you get from Golden Gate is crazy, right? But again, Mongols tend to love the early pressure. Sometimes you even see early all-ins from the Mongols here. So the Kremlin is going to allow you some spatial control. Oftentimes you'll see the Kremlin built near resources like near stone or wood, so you can control those. The Kremlin is a defensive landmark that comes with arrow slits and can definitely do some good work for sure. The Mista did not play in my Gran Turino weeklies yet. He won my launch tournament. So this is my weekly tournament series, which is going to be the standard tournaments here on the channel. But the Mista won my launch weekend tournament, which was just like a more, it wasn't like a weekly, but basically, yeah. The Mista won the first tournament on the channel. Nyan Racing Cat won the second. And of course, the winner for this third tournament here has yet to be determined. We will see which champion emerges and how that goes. There's also a little bit of a Rus meta coming up where Rus players will spam scouts. So they use their multiple hunting cabins to spam like 30 scouts, and then they mass horse archers, which is really interesting because the scouts still have a bit of HP, right? They have 110 HP. They're tankier than Mangudai, right? And they regenerate. So you can use them as a bit of a meat shield to eat enemy arrows and springolds, and they can do okay for that. And they can also torch artillery very well. So scouts do sometimes do quite good in terms of harassment and poke and all that sort of neat stuff. The Rus aren't eco-friendly. That's pretty funny because they are supposed to be like the most eco faction, but really the Rus are just like bloodthirsty animal hunters, and they love deforesting here and just doing all the stuff that is not really in tune with their lore, which is quite funny. Their lore, their history. I come from a fantasy game, so I'm so used to saying like lore instead of history. Yeah. So the Kremlin is here. The Kremlin will be able to fend off early Mongol pressure. And I believe the Mongols are now going to the second age. The Deer Stones have rapidly taken over as one of the more popular landmarks, although I'm surprised we're not seeing not the Golden Gate, but the Silver Tree. Silver Tree is insane. If Mongols can get Silver Tree trading routes going, oh my god, it is so disgusting. But it is, I feel like against Rus are very defensive. Like, they usually don't put too much pressure on you until the third age, in my experience. Like, I feel like you could get away with a very greedy build against them. But again, against a very strong player like Fuser, you might not have as much success. So we will see what's happening. Yes, this is going to be a weekly tournament. Sometimes I might even have 2 of them if I'm feeling really spicy. Again, it depends on the budget because, I'm putting my cash into it. And, you know, it's $100, $200, $300 per tournament. So depending on the budget and everything, I will be having them guaranteed once a week. But I might even do twice a week and have some other off formats and things like that. So we will have the weeklies, which are standard. We also have a format on the channel called the Civilization Wars, where there's one champion for each civ. And it's an 8-player tournament, or invitational essentially. Well, you have to qualify for it. And you champion your civ, and then you play in this big tournament. So that's a fun one, because you will see China, you'll see HRE, you'll see civs that are often underplayed, which is pretty cool. So Rus going pretty ham on this gold vein. I think that Fuser is going to be doing a fast castle age. I think that's the game plan here. Yeah, he's got this gold vein. He's hitting it super hard. He's hitting the food super hard. Very, very minimal lumber. You can see he's only got like 3 or 4 workers on lumber. Yeah, looks like the 4th is popping out now. And Rus castle age is very good. I personally, in terms of the landmarks, I see some people go high trade house, but I feel like the Abbey of the Trinity is a little bit stronger, because getting the Rus warrior monks out quickly to grab all the relics on the map is so strong. They just can Grand Theft Auto all these relics, which is super fun. So the con back here, just doing a little bit of annoying poking. This is pretty classic Rus, like not building any military infrastructure, being super greedy, teching the tier 3 here. You know, we'll see if he's punished. Oh, and the Grand Theft Venison! So the Rus have taken the deer, and that is big. If he didn't get the deer, he'd have to overextend to get a food source, which the Mongols could potentially punish. But the Grand Theft Venison is upon us. He's going to be running around the map, grabbing all the deer with his Scout Legion. So this is, there was somebody in chat earlier asking about Rus play. So this is like very archetypal defensive Rus play, and I think it's very, very strong. So here it comes. Going to be grabbing even more of these deer and then jumping back over and dropping them off here at the base. The deer have 350 food per model, whereas the sheep have 250, I think. So it's quite a bit of food you can get from those deer, and they certainly will do quite well for you. And now the deer are dropped off. Down here on the south, gold being accrued for the Mongols, but nowhere near the rate of the Rus. Looks like a very eco-Mongol build, though. Yeah, like he's not building any military either. He just set up a pasture economy, so that pretty much will address his food for the rest of the game. If you get like 3 or 4 pastures next to the OVO in the early game, you can get so many sheep that like you're never going to have to stress for food again. It's one of the things that makes Mongols so strong. And yeah, the pastures are, let's see how long they are next to the OVO. It says 1 minute, 19 seconds. Yeah, and they are within the influence, so maybe it goes down to 60 seconds? I think it goes down to 60 seconds from 90 seconds. So the Abbey of the Trinity is being built, a power-building Trinity. Man, that is going to be getting some big, angry warrior monks out very quickly. And now archery ranges. So this is a build that I've been seeing going around ladder quite a bit, where again, you go hard tier 3, you get the archery range, you mass horse archers, you mass scouts, and you basically just get map control and grab all the relics with your warrior priests and or warrior monks and do your business. So King Krylo asking, where can we see our announcements for tournaments? I will start announcing them a little bit more efficiently in my YouTube channel. So stay tuned to my community section, and I will be posting when the tournaments are going to be happening for both Total War Warhammer, which, of course, people have been asking. I will be covering Total War Warhammer again very heavily. Just taking a little bit of a break, and I'll be alternating between Total War Warhammer and Age of Empires. That is kind of my game plan going forward here on the channel. And, of course, any other big RTS games that are launched, I will do my best to cover those. So Grand Theft Venison, man, doing great work. The Mongols aren't going to be punished as badly by it since they have like the really good pasture economy, so they'll be okay. They're not going to be starved out. Many civs, if you just take all the deer on the map, they can actually pay the price quite heavily. But Castle Age has been reached for the Rus. Not that far behind here for the Mongols. So you can see Vortix here going to be setting up his step readout, so he will be okay and should be able to get that juicy, juicy gold income, which will help him catch up to the slightly ahead Rus. So Ivan and the boys are coming out. The warrior monk will be appearing. 100 gold. Normally the Rus warrior monks do cost 200 gold, which is a pretty penny. You're essentially paying for the big expensive cavalry, priest, right? But in this case, they only cost 100 due to the landmark, which I think is why it's so essential. Delicious indeed. Some solid water. All right, so archery range is being set up. It is going to be a horse archer build. Just as we predicted, the Kremlin being built as well, which is pretty good against all-ins. This bad boy has 5,000 HP. You can set up spring all emplacements on it, and it's pretty good for defending. Over here, scouts looking around. Oh, the Grand Theft Venison. Some of the spearmen are here to try and stop them, but the spearmen are not going to be successful, and the scouts will get those deer. And look how many deer back at the base. That is so much food right now. I mean, that is like probably 3,000 food worth of deer. So he's going to be pretty comfortable to kind of sit here and just make a bunch of horse archers and try and control the map in this way. Down here on the south side, the first of the Rus horse archers is out, but the Khan is showing him who is the true master of horsemanship here. As he takes down that horse archer, he does do 12 damage now. It looks like the Khan might have actually gotten an upgrade, yes. So there's a unique upgrade for the Khan's arrows. Did he get that? No, he did not. So it looks like he just does base 12 damage when he gets to this age. So that Khan, what a champion, man. He's definitely given some problems to the Rus. So warrior monks should be coming out. The first one shall emerge here in just a hot second. And in the back, we're seeing hunting cabins set up. So hunting cabins are probably going to be used for the mass scout play, as the warrior monk needs to go grab some relics right now to really pay for himself. Could go out here. Doesn't want to go too close to the Khan. The Khan actually could potentially take him down now that he does hit for 12 damage. But here comes the monk, going for them relics, going to be grabbing him. Here, the Grand Theft of Venison does continue. Do you think you'll cover Warcraft 3 in the future? Yeah, I will. I'll get back to doing some Warcraft streams, but again, I'm just so addicted to Age of Empires right now. Even after I finish my streams at night, I like jump on and play like 3 or 4 games, and that's usually when I just tank my rating. I'm like, yeah, let's play late at night and just have a bad time here. So, yeah, look at the Khan, man. The little plays here by Vortix. He's actually able to pick off the hunting cabin builder, which does, you know, kind of delay the build a little bit. Houses being set up, and the hunting cabins are now going to be producing scouts. The double warrior monks grabbing relics on the map, and it is so damn strong. I mean, the Mongols can do it as well, but they're, you know, religious characters, they're shaman, have to waddle on foot, so it typically takes them quite some time compared to the Rus to grab those relics, and it looks like the veteran Khan is kiting back against the horse archer. Dude, he is like taking out 3 or 4 horse archers. His range is 1.7 tiles, and the horse archers are 4.5, so he actually can't keep up. That's really valuable, man. Those little picks really do add up. So great control. So the Rus, though, still getting all the deer on the map. Even more deer being brought back. It is certainly, talk about the deli shop. Well, there's certainly some deli meat back here. And now, look at this, man. This Khan is just an unholy terror this game. He's like picking off all these units. The Rus are going to need to protect those guys. Yeah, there's a scout for the Mongols here, but I think this warrior monk might not make it back. He needs to run this way. He's taking the long route. Oh, why is he attacking? The Khan is going to take him apart. And he's going to be losing this relic. That is very, very annoying. Yeah, and the Khan is just an absolute champ. And he turns to fight, but the Khan will be able to win this fight now. Yeah, that's a big misplay there by Fuser. So he does lose that warrior monk. What a shame. And he's going to be denied that relic. Now, there's still one relic in the base here. The warrior monk is heading back across to grab that relic again. He heard what happened to his cousin there, and now he's going to be going to get that business. So there he goes. You should go only deli tonight? Yeah, I think I will. Dude, I lost. So yesterday I had a decent run, you know, on ladder. I think I went like 3-3 or something. It was okay. I was playing Chinese and stuff. And then when I played later at night, dude, I just tanked. I lost like 4 games in a row. Just got dunked on. It was Mongols and French every single game. And I just was struggling so hard against them. Yeah, got to step up my game, man. So the Mongols have gone with heavy lancers, very, very standard. Usually when you see all this golden come, and now they're just going to be pushing into the Rus base. And oh man, the Rus are losing horse archers and melee. You got to get those guys back. Oh, the Wololo is coming. Here it is. Pop it. Oh, he gets in the TC. And is there some sort of weird trick where you can convert units if you're in the TC? I'm quite curious what he's going to be doing here. So he hid the warrior monk in the TC. The Rus are pulling back some horse archers, and honestly, some of the heavy cavalry are being picked off. The Kremlin here is very useful. It does give you consistent DPS, but it does not have a Springald emplacement. And now we got the warrior monk popping out. I thought we were going to see some religious action here. Some of the lancers are being dragged down. Pretty good harass, though, and Vortix has pulled relatively far ahead. The Khan is able to escape. Very, very good control here. And the Lancers are being tanked by the Scouts. So you can see this is kind of the build here. And also the Scouts do get a little bit of a damage boost from the Warrior Monk, from the Saint's Blessing. And I think the Rus will be able to hold this, but the fact that their economy got shut down for so long, Lancers have shut down the wood economy, and I would imagine the villagers have paid a pretty hefty price. Whereas right now, the Mongols, if you look at their income per minute, are still just punishing, whereas Fuser has kind of been set on the back foot a little bit. So we will see what happens, man. Excellent play on both sides. So a couple of the heavy Lancers still being dragged down, and they will go down eventually, but this is a big, big win for the Mongols, as the Lancers were able to deal with most of the very lightly armored Rus units. And again, arrows aren't super effective unless they're crossbow bolts at dealing with these heavy cavalry. Now down here at the Mongols base, switching into a bunch of archery ranges, probably going to be coming in with their own horde of basic archers now. Basic archers are a very good counter against horse archers. Horse archers obviously have the mobile advantage, but yeah, that's going to be GG. Well played. Vortix coming in with the death thrust. It looks like the old warrior monk popped out with the relic at the last second. I thought we were going to see some big conversion attempts there, but we were indeed blue-balled by that. But it is what it is. Game 1 going to Vortix, showing why he made it to top 4 in the Genesis. Certainly showing no mercy against the poor Rus, who have been having a very rough run in the competitive scene lately. But again, we can't all be winners, so some civs have to pay the price. There was a little spike when you could see here when the Rus got that age 3, they actually pulled ahead, but then the gold spike and the military spike from the Mongols was able to kind of pass them up. I almost think I like the horse archer build. I know it's very meta, but I feel like going with spears and crossbows is still just better against the Mongol pressure. And again, grabbing the relics and Yeah, it's hard to say though. Maybe even some Rus heavy cavalry, because Rus do have better cavalry than the Mongols. They have upgrades. They have Boyaros Fortitude as well as these sabers. So maybe you got to go like crossbows or basic archers with Rus knights. Like I felt like the army composition for Fuser just wasn't up to the task of winning that particular fight. Anyways, let us jump over and see what's going on. Why is this not on Twitch? Well, I just stream on YouTube. I am a YouTube lad, and that is where I play all the business. Did they already get into the next game? Wow, those guys are quick. They're quick indeed. All right, let me have a water here. I'll be back in just a second. We'll load into the match here. All right, I return, my friends. The wait is over. I'm sorry to keep you guys hanging here. Door is shut. And for the next match, it's going to be Fuser on the Mongols facing off against Vortix on the English. So this is a matchup that we've seen a couple times. English longbowmen certainly can put massive pressure on the Mongols early. So perhaps we could see a battering ram all in. It is going to be the hill and dale for the map. So we will see if the English are going to play more defensive, try and get a big farm economy going, or if they will rush the Mongols. In my experience, I find that playing against Mongols in the late game is very hard. With the step readout and obviously the trade routes and map control they can get, it can be very tough. So I like to pressure Mongols earlier myself, but granted, I'm nowhere near the skill level of these players. So we will see what they try and do. So early stables coming out. So Vortix, Fuser are going to be doing some Dark Age pressure. He has not even set up his OVO yet. The OVO is back here, so if he wants to set up that stone, he's going to need to. But it looks like we're instantly going to be seeing Horsemen. Now, not double producing, but he's going to be going for double early scouts. And I think the plan here with the Dark Age stable is going to be getting scouts and shutting down gold, because this gold is not going to be protected by the TC. So with the number of scouts, you can actually torch that down and keep them from teching to the second age. However, you have to remember it is England, and England does have the villagers with bows. So they can actually shoot and defend very effectively, so it should be interesting to see what is going on there. So the Mongol player, Fuser, is going to be the Dark Lord of the Sheep here. So the Lord of the Sheep going to be gathering those bad boys and bringing them back. Up here on the northeast, the English scout not having as much fun. He's only able to find one sheep, one sad little sheep, and bring it back to the base. This man said, it's OVO, I think is how you actually say that, yeah. Because I was saying it wrong for the longest time, but somebody corrected me. I think it's like an OVO, or like it has some, there's an emphasis on one of the O's there. I'm not quite sure, but perhaps somebody in chat can say it correctly. Yeah, it's pretty funny. How's your dog doing? Well, we have our little terrier. Unfortunately, Wookie did pass away about 3 or 4 months ago, but our terrier is carrying on the legacy of Wookie, who is in the Garden of Nurgle, living his happiest life nowadays. All right, so the gold vein being hit pretty hard here. Obviously, English going to be going for a standard opening in that regard. And the OVO is being set up in the front, so it looks like it is going to be more aggressively placed, and I would imagine the stable will be packed up and moved over here just to get that juicy double production. The Mongols do have one scout here, they have one up here, and it looks like he's just trying to get sheep on the map, but overall, it seems like the sheep game, yeah. England has a couple here, but it looks like they've just run out. Look at that. The instant garrison. This is something you see a lot from England. Yeah, look at that. Man! Beautiful control there by Vortix to punish that scout. He garrisoned all of his sheep workers, and England gets to double the arrows from their TC, so he just gooned that scout for Fuser. That was a beautiful play right there. Yeah, beautiful play. So anyways, gold's still going. It looks like Vortix is going to be getting to the second age here rather quickly. The Lord of the Sheep has dropped off quite a herd, and this Khan has actually had some good success himself, so probably going to be taking those back to the base. And it looks like the early pressure from the Mongols is going to be kind of passive right now. As a matter of fact, they're going to be the ones trying to catch up in terms of tech, because Vortix is going to be getting the council hall here in like 2 seconds. As soon as he gets like a food drop off, he's going to be going there and living his best life. Yeah, English TCs don't mess around. Also, the network of castles buff lets your nearby units attack a little bit more efficiently there. So the council hall is out. I think we probably will see some sort of an early press We'll have to find out here, but I would imagine longbows backed up by spears, maybe some battering rams, all sorts of neat stuff that you can do. And no horsemen are being produced, and the stables are not being moved near the Ovo, which is a little bit strange. I think setting it up right here would be very, very good, but yeah, anyways, Mongols trying to get that gold. They are pretty behind in that regard. In terms of food, yeah, he doesn't have that much. Where is he spending his food right now? Did he start building a landmark somewhere and I didn't see it? No. So Fuser sitting on 118 and 130. So yeah, he spent food on something. Oh, he's got too many villagers queued up. That's what it is. I do this all the time. One of the most common mistakes you see, because, you know, coming from games like StarCraft and you're constantly producing probes and SCVs and drones, right? So like the instinct is to just like constantly tab and queue them up, and it's really not as big of a deal there. But yeah, in Age, you can get backed up a little bit. Now you can see his food does spike up, and he will be able to get to the feudal ages here very, very soon, but not before the English. The English longbows will be coming out here very, very quickly, and I would imagine they'll be marching across the map to have a word with the Mongolian invaders. And the early horsemen not being built. Yep, so the horsemen just kind of chilling. Food here for the Mongols running a little bit sparse. They're probably going to have to turn in and switch to the berry bushes here. And it looks like the silver tree is the option. Okay, I am actually very, very interested to see how this goes. I think that the silver tree can be insanely powerful. So what you do with the silver tree is you have to set it up near your Ovo. And when you do that, you double produce traders. They run to the trade post down here, and then you pack up the silver tree, run it up to the corner of the map to get the maximum gold return. It is incredibly powerful. And if like the English player lets that happen, that could just be GG. You know, Fuser can just come in with a steel chair and most likely win at that point. But, you know, England should be pretty on top of this. It's a pretty common Mongol tactic. So you can see here the English are scouting over here. And let's take a look at the map vision here for Vortix. So he is scouting. He is not aware of the landmark. Now he is. So now he knows his opponent is going silver tree. He has scouted this. He has this information, and he can adjust accordingly and make sure to shut down trade routes. Because, you know, the YAM network obviously gives you a little bit more mobility, very, very common because it's a safer pick. This, I would say, is a little bit riskier because your game plan is more contingent on the traders being successful. But man, oh man, if you can get that trade control, you can really put your opponent in the trash can pretty damn hard. Yeah, pretty crazy indeed. So down here, we see the English longwomen beginning to emerge from the shadows. The Khan of Fuser causing some problems here, but a single longwoman should be able to keep them in check. And we immediately see a bunch of longwomen being produced. Oh, was he actually hiding longwomen in the TC to make his opponent think he had less? If he was, if that was indeed his intent there, man, I am incredibly impressed, and that is a very, very gamey tactic. Things like that are very common in StarCraft as well, like proxies and showing certain things. Like you used to see back in the day, I'm sure you still do, but you'll see someone build like double gateway or double barracks or whatever, and then they cancel one of them, and so their opponent thinks it's an all-in, and then they just like eco after that. That was like one of the main takeaways I learned from playing StarCraft back in the day. It's the mind games, right? But the longwomen are going to move out, should be able to pick off the scout. This brave Mongolian scout riding through the hail of fire, but will not get away. English are renowned for their long range on their bows here. Now they're going to be surging across the map, and the silver tree is up. Are we going to be seeing the double trader being produced? I don't know. It looks like an outpost is being panic built here, which is smart because otherwise the longbows are just going to get in. And I feel like English, yeah, okay, he's all inning. He's going for a blacksmith. We're going to see siege engineering, and those longbowmen are going to be ramming at the gates here of the Mongols. And we're not even seeing double traders being produced. It looks like we are seeing double horsemen being produced, which, you know, is the intuitive answer against longbows. But longbows are pretty resilient against horsemen in numbers. Yeah, you can see shooting at those light horsemen. They can lay down their palings. It looks like they also have the scout. Is the Khan going to die? That would not be good, losing the Khan here. Oh, and the Khan goes down. What an unfortunate timing. Now, very good outpost. It has the choke point. We are on Hill and Dale. If this was a different map, the English longwomen could waddle around and, you know, get around here and start pressuring into the base and causing problems. But this single outpost here, able to do a very, very good job. Are we seeing traders being built? I don't believe so. Let's switch to this perspective. No more horsemen either, and the archery range is being set up. I think basic archers are going to come out, or probably not Mangudai. Mangudai just get massacred by basically the English longwomen. Although if you do have enough horsemen and the Mangudai are chasing behind them and shooting the longbows, you could do well, but yeah, this is an all-in for sure. Like constant stream of longbows coming out. Now he's probably going to be banking lumber. You can always tell based on the number of lumber workers. I mean, this is just bananas how much lumber he's getting. Yeah, it's going to be pretty serious. The first battering ram has not been made yet, but this is going to be a very, very tough hold. He is making double. Okay, he's going Mangudai horsemen. In my experience, Mangudai don't trade super well against the English longwomen. But again, if you have a force chasing the longwomen, you can. But what happens is really good players will be able to snipe them out. 85 HP, very, very squishy. What do the Mongols have back here? It looks like there's another outpost. What are they building here? Probably the iron undermesh is what they want, I would imagine. This does give them a little bit of armor against the longbows. The longbows trying to find an opening here. Look at this. Oh my god. Just out of the range. He's just creeping in there, dude. And Vortix going to be setting up a fat, thick battering ram right here and just going right into the Mongolian TC. Oh my god, that's going to be really tough. Now, the one disadvantage of this position is that the English army is kind of cut off from reinforcements to an extent, but I think he has enough longbows here that he can do some work. And yeah, he like shuts down the food. He's just poking, being a menace here. Now he's got enough for a battering ram, or he should in just a second. I think the fact that he's still producing longwomen is kind of slowing down his ramming speed. But now he's going to have enough. Should be getting set up here any moment. And I think he's going to unify his army. This is smart because overextending into your opponent's base for too long, like away from your supply lines, could lead to this army being isolated, whereas he's got a lot more units coming in, right? So the battering ram will be here, and it looks like the Mongolian Khan is back in business. Now, Fuser is ahead in score. If he manages to get to the next age without just being destroyed by this all-in, I mean, yeah, he could certainly take over this game. But where's the ram? Where's the old ram? Is he supply blocked? It might be the case. Let's take a look at Vortix. Now, Vortix is not supply blocked. He's just massing longbows here. Is he getting any other upgrades? Oh, siege engineering isn't done yet. Okay, I think he actually forgot. I think he forgot to get the siege engineering upgrade for a long time, and now he's just having to wait for it. This actually might screw up his timing pretty bad. Because that blacksmith, I feel like he could have done it a long time ago. The good old campfire, so the Englishmen know how to sit around a fire and enjoy some glorious English breakfast. My favorite thing when I went to England was the English breakfast. Pretty delicious. Yeah, good old sausages. And here they come. So the reason Turin can tell it's an all-in is because of the wood economy and blacksmith being early. 100% correct. It's very intuitive. And as soon as you see, I mean, you could still see a blacksmith just for the ranged upgrade for the longbows, just to pressure. But as soon as you see the siege engineering coming in and the prevalence of lumber, you know more or less he's going for it. Because if he was going to the next age, he would have way more than 3 workers on gold, right? So this is all information you can, figure out by scouting and seeing what your opponent's up to. Mangudai able to push out the old English scout up there, so that does take away a little bit of vision up here on the high ground. But the ram is here, and now it is time. It is Gotham's reckoning. The big ram is moving in. Battering rams, so tanky, man. 15 armor against ranged attacks. So incredibly tough to bring down. And I don't know how the Mongols are going to mount a defense here. I mean, they got 4 horsemen here in this outpost, and they're trying to pick off some of the archers in the back, but the English longwomen are just going to get back right now and reset, and the campfire is going to be giving some healing. He might lose like 2 longwomen for his efforts here, but all these horsemen are going to pop out. And where are the Mangudai at? Yeah, they're sitting back here. It looks like another blacksmith is being set up in the backfield, maybe to get some defensive upgrades. I'm not sure. The horsemen are pulling back, so how many horsemen does he have? 6 horsemen and 5 Mangudai plus the Khan versus like 23 English longbows. And English longbows are not basic archers. They have palings, they have self-healing, and it can be very disruptive. And now he's just going to be looking for openings. Basically, he's just going to leave the battering ram to its devices here, and he's going to be looking to get picks. And like little picks like this, oh my god, you can't let this happen. That's probably honestly GG there. I don't know how the Mongols are going to recover from that. They just lost all their pressure pieces on here, and now the haggard Mangudai are just like trying to survive somewhere. Now, this is good though. I do like this play. He's going to be going to try and cut off supply lines to keep the English from getting reinforcements here, but those battering rams, oh my god, the rally points are so off! And the English longwomen just literally got so much free value, although the Mongols are doing a good job getting picks here as well. So like maybe if all the horsemen and some villagers had been pulled, he could push back this English army here, and yeah, that's going to be very, very tough. Some serious pain, but that is some good harass. I mean, those a lot of those longwomen did go down here, but the battering rams are persistent, man. They're not going to go away just because you close your eyes and hide in your TC. That ram it's nightmare fuel, man. It's here. And I think the best defense for the Mongols would have been getting an all-in ready, right? Like getting like villagers and to charge in and just try, knowing that you have a little bit of an eco advantage against the all-in. But yeah, here it's going to be tough. Only 1 ram and it's still doing the trick. Those longwomen are going to massacre those villagers, man. Yeah, he's garrisoning a bunch in here. That should give some pretty good stopping power. But the problem with the TCs is they often just shoot the nearest target. And here comes the Mongol army. This is it. This is very important here. He's going to have to do well. Horsemen are charging in. The Mongols are going to go in for the big fight here. And the Khan gets no scope. That Khan got sniped instantly. And now villagers are on top of the ram. This might be a potential hold. The English are being forced back. In terms of the score, it's really, really even. We have the unholy legion of villagers. They got their torches out. They're going after the battering ram. The Mangudai are doing okay, but the longwomen are very resilient here. Now the squishy Mangudai are going to get picked apart, and the Mongols will be defeated by the English. Now, I actually think that Fuser had an opportunity there to hold that and come back. but he lost the 4 horsemen. Those 4 horsemen would have made all the difference in that fight. I think that game was very winnable for Fuser. He played great, like in many respects. It was just that one little mistake of losing some units at the rally point that I think cost him the game. And in a very high level game against an opponent like, you know, Vortix, it's going to be very, very difficult. So that is going to be a 2-0 victory. Now let us go ahead and update the top 4 for today. Vortix will be advancing on, and he's going to be facing Beastieqt here in the grand finals for today. So once again, thank you all for joining. Let's get this party started. We are here in the grand finals. Let's do it to it, and I will let the players know. All right, so maps for the finals, please stand by. I'm going to be getting them the custom maps here in just a second. Maps Inc., stand by. All right, I'm going to give them some map variety here. So for this, let's go ahead and do King of the Hill. King of the Hill. I know a lot of competitive players don't like Black Forest, which is a little bit strange, but we will do that. And we will do Altai. And then French Pass. So we're going to do some different maps. We're doing King of the Hill, Nagari, and French Pass as well. Those are going to be the goods. Start when ready. Good luck, have fun. And Vortix versus Beastie. All right. There we are. It is the finals. Best of 3. Just letting the players know it is best of 3 so they don't mistake it for best of 5. And let's get their nameplate set up. All right, so we don't need to change Vortix. We just need to change his opponent here. Beastieqt. All right, all right. So there we are. Let's see what tricks they got. What are the picks going to be? Is it going to be very meta? Are we going to see a wild Holy Roman pick? Perhaps so. Find out here on live on stream. Yeah, Black Forest is like the only map that HRE in China really can enjoy themselves on. I agree. I actually like the Black Forest. I actually really like it. I think it's really fun. Yeah, King of the Hill is an interesting one. It's a very strange map, but I actually like it. I think it's very interesting. Frost Koi, thank you for the tenor. Great content, man. I'm enjoying it. Maybe a bit too much. Keep it up. I'm enjoying it maybe a bit too much. Thank you, man. Yeah, thank you, thank you. Oh my god, are they already in game? Did they not start with the spec slot? Hold on. Come on, guys. Don't do this to me. Where are the spec slot at? Okay, no, they're not. Okay, so it says BC's not in the lobby yet. All right, that's fine. Don't forget spec slot. All right. Seems good. Yeah, it says Vortex is in game right now, but I think he's maybe just checking out the map. I'm not sure. Yeah, probably looking at the map. All righty. Best Holy Roman strat. Regnitz Cathedral. A shit ton of men-at-arms and heavy knights, and just push in. Because if you can get Regnitz out, you can produce way more elite stuff than your opponent. Like, I've seen a lot of HRE players actually spamming men-at-arms backed by heavy cavalry, by knights. And like, that can be pretty overwhelming, that amount of armor and just meat in your army. But yeah, like, I think one of the biggest elements to HRE is getting a really good economic boom with the Prelate and the Aachen Chapel, followed up by tier 3 Regnitz relic control. And that's how you win the game. I feel if your opponent denies you the Regnitz Cathedral and like you're kind of stuck there with like a crappy landmark with nothing buffing it, or nothing supporting it with the relics, obviously, like you can lose. But yeah, that is my 2 cents. That is my 2 cents. Viper played an arena tournament while wearing a clown wig. Oh, that sounds like fun. Tips on Delhi when enemy rushes with rams or buildings. So typically when I played Delhi at tier 2, I'll have like 2 barracks and 2 archery ranges. And if you see them coming, you need to take your scholars out of your mosque and put them into your military production buildings and start like double producing archers, because they can produce 100% faster. So that's like your response. You need to see it coming though, because if they just arrive at your front door, you won't have time to prepare this. But you need to have efficient production finished from your mosque research, and then you put them into the archery ranges and double produce. That's like your best bet for stopping all-ins. Yeah, I'm losing every game when rams are coming. It's hard, dude. It's very hard. You have to have very good villager control as well. And like when you're pushing their army, your villagers need to be right on top of their rams at the same time. Like it's a very tough to hold for Delhi. But if you can survive that, then you're going to be in good shape. Or with Delhi, you can get early sacred control and hard tech to the 3rd age and then pump out men-at-arms at rapid fire pace. And that can stop any battering ram rush. Like Delhi men-at-arms are super beastly. Yeah. Especially by then, you'll have like 1-2 or 2-2 upgrades even, if you're playing everything correctly. Tom, thank you for the donation. You are very entertaining and skilled commentator. Hey, thank you, man. Appreciate that. Keep up the good work. We will. We got a lot of good times coming. Tournaments galore. Tournaments galore indeed. Yeah, professional scouts for HRE is actually underrated. Yeah, you have all the deer income underneath the TC for the prelate buff. Yep. Yeah, it can be very, very good. Minework Palace is better for all-ins. If you're looking to do like a battering ram all-in, which is very common for HRE, like going tier 2, getting double barracks, pumping out men-at-arms, you get the Minework Palace, you get siege engineering cheaper, and you get armor upgrades cheaper, and you can bull rush people very well. It's actually better than Aachen. Aachen isn't as good for all-ins, but the Minework Palace, in my experience, is a little bit better for all-in, because late game, the Aachen is so much better because it gives that aura, which you can surround it with farms and just get a ton of food in the late game. Yeah, so give it a try. Beastie has started the game. Let's get this party started. Here we are. The Duel of Fates is upon us. It's going to be the classic historical grudge match. We have the French led by Vortix and the English being helmed by Beastieqt. Let's get this party started and have some fun. Yes. Good, Anakin. Yeah, it's going to be great. Alrighty, so spawning on the south side or north side, we have our French champion, Vortix. On the south, we have our English champ, Beastieqt. And this is King of the Hill, so obviously you'll notice something about King of the Hill is that the resources on the low ground are very sparse. We have a very sad, depressing little forest right here, and then you have like some sparse trees around. There is a forest up top, forest on the sides of both, but essentially the map is designed to force the players out of their comfort zone and make them move up to the high ground, right? Because look at all the gold veins, just some veiny gold veins. On top of that, this map also only has one sacred site, so it can get really crazy, especially if you're playing Delhi Sultanate. Delhi players on this map will often just rush the sacred site and then form like an unholy Helm's Deep and just try and hold it, which is really, really fun. So very excited for this. Yes, the classic historical match. So Beastie, apparently, according to Zach in chat, is saying he hasn't played English all day, so perhaps he has been saving his secret weapon for the grand finals. I believe Beastie is streaming right now, which is awesome. I don't know if Vortex is. Does Vortex stream as well, or does he usually just play and not stream? Any of you guys know? It's always really cool when you have like, that's one of my things and like favorite things in Total War tournaments as well. When you have like a lot of community members like streaming and playing and giving you their perspectives. I think that's really cool. There's some veiny veins, that is for sure. So standard builds for both players. We're not going to see anything. Nobody's going to be reinventing the wheel here. It's just going to be the classic food, gold, School of Cavalry, Council Hall, spearmen and longbows versus French cavalry and archers. That's basically what this game's going to be. It is going to be very, very standard in that regard. And I don't think we're going to be seeing too much spice outside of that. So over here we do have Ye Old Mining Camp being set up, and now the villagers will be diving in with the ferocity of 1,000 nations as they get down on that gold vein. And looking around, players have gotten some pretty good scouting. If we look here at the selected players, Vortex does know where some of the relics are. He also knows, of course, where the sacred site is, and he's going to be heading down this way now for the perspective of Beastie. A much more direct scouting route, actually looking to jack the sheep from the back of his opponent's base. Yeah, he's able to get a couple of those bad boys and do some work. England is not bad on King of the Hill for sure. They can get the keep, like, because they have the network of castles and outposts. England is probably better than the French at like controlling a single position. Obviously, they have the network of castles, like I said. Their outposts give that benefit as well, and their keeps can also produce units. So if England wants to rush Castle Age, build their Age 3 landmark up here, which of course is a keep, and then start producing spring owls and defensive artillery out of it instantly, that actually can give them a huge edge against the French. Patrick Moriarty, thank you so much for the $5. Appreciate that, man. Yeah, Moriarty. Where does that name? Isn't that a name from? That's man, the detective. God, what am I thinking? Sherlock Holmes. Isn't there a character Moriarty in there? Yeah, I think so. No, I haven't read those stories in a long, long time. Yeah, my most recent reference is from Star Trek. There's a Star Trek The Next Generation episode, I think. I can't remember if it's TNG. Yeah, I think it's TNG, where they create a holodeck program, which basically has Professor Moriarty in it as the villain, and he becomes like sentient and aware that he's like a hologram, and he's like the arch villain. Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, I know BC streaming. I was watching BC stream this morning. Yeah, it was a lot of fun seeing his games. He had some ferocious battles indeed. So down here, England is switching to lumber, and England needs to switch to lumber a little bit quicker than the French because they have to pay wood for their longbows, whereas the French can stay on gold and neglect lumber a little bit more because their cavalry are just gold and food. Although even still, you still want to get some lumber to build infrastructure, your marketplace, your blacksmith, all that other things, all that other sort of good stuff. So yeah, that was a fun episode. Yeah, I enjoyed those. Freaky, I just watched that TNG episode last night. Dude, I love Star Trek. Star Trek is like, was was my therapy back in the day. Yeah, like watching TNG, Deep Space Nine. I even enjoyed the Enterprise and you know, and the one with Janeway as well. I know a lot of people kind of like hate on those, but honestly, I enjoyed those, man. I don't really feel the urge to watch the new Star Treks. Like there was something magical about those 90s, like early 2000s, you know, Star Trek. But anyways, enough of that. Back to the Council Hall. Council Hall is about to finish a little bit ahead of the School of Cavalry. Typically, we saw some games with the Mista in our launch week tournament where he basically just goes Council Hall backed up by spears. I think it was even like a Council Hall double barracks, like all in, where you just get like double spearmen producing behind the longbowmen. It's very wood intensive, but again, you could just completely dump gold. You just get enough gold to get the siege engineering, and then you all in the French before they can get like a critical mass of their knights. And this is pretty telling. I mean, 3 longbowmen coming out with a rally point to his opponent's base. Look at this. The rally point is over here. So I think the English are going to be getting in there and trying to put some serious pressure on the forces of Vortix and the French, who await up on the high ground. The Expanse is my new Star Trek. Yeah, I love The Expanse. It's really, really good. Yeah, really good. Deep Space Nine was my favorite Star Trek. Yeah, correct. I just, like, and normally when I would put on Star Trek, my wife would be like, oh my God, it's Star Trek again. But when I switched to watching Deep Space Nine, she actually enjoyed that because she really liked the characters like Quark and Major Kira and like, you know, Jadzia, and like, I felt like, yeah, Deep Space Nine was so fun. I love the perspective of like the Ferengi. Oh my God. Stop, guys. You're getting me into a Star Trek rant, and we need to focus on the commentary here. So England decides to pull back. Yeah, they're able to get back here and just get their longbowmen in a defensive position. We are not seeing a barracks yet, nor are we seeing a blacksmith. So I think England might just be playing a little bit more of it. Oh my God! Look at this! It's a proxy blacksmith, but he doesn't build it. Where's his villager going? What is he doing? Yeah, the villager's going back now. Okay, I think that was a little bit of a miss micro. Dude, I love this. This is some StarCraft, like 101 here. Oh my God. So he's got a proxy blacksmith set up. Okay, so the French player is going to be scouting his base like, oh, there's no blacksmith. That means there's no siege engineering. I can just eco. It's going to be fine. My knights will handle shit. But then with the dreaded proxy blacksmith in the corner of the map, there's no way. Nobody is going to scout that shit. That is so goddamn cool. I love it. Yeah, I love it. This is great. This is great. Yeah, anyways. Looking at the French, they do have a blacksmith, and they are getting the ranged armor upgrade, which makes their knights basically like unholy middle linebackers. The French knights have 3 ranged armor, so if you look at longbowmen, I believe they do 7 damage, or 6. So their damage is reduced from 6 down to 3. And if you get the ranged iron undermesh upgrade, that goes down to 2. So the English longbowmen will be doing 2 damage against these knights here. Now the knight's kind of circling about. Let's go ahead and look at vision for Vortix and see what he's kind of thinking here. He's looking around the map, and now the knights are going to be coming in for the backfield harass. And the old blacksmith, the proxy there in the backfield, I really enjoy that. This French knight does take quite a bit of poke from the longbowmen, but again, it's only 3 damage, soon to be reduced down to 2. And, oh, that actually is a little bit of a problem, maybe. That villager who built the blacksmith was up here, which might actually give Vortix the idea that there's a proxy somewhere. Okay, he doesn't end up scouting in the corner, and it looks like, yes, arrow upgrades and siege engineering is coming in from Beastie, followed up by a blacksmith. That pretty much means that this is going to be some sort of an all-in. Oh my goodness. This is going to be really fun, guys. Lance is couched for the lady, and they move in, and the English villagers are going to be forced to run. Honestly, though, the English villagers could just turn and shoot here. Get a fair amount of damage instead of running to the TC, although it looks like 1 villager will fall. If England is going to want to have a good all-in, they really need to make sure they have good lumber economy, so they need to keep this lumber online. That cannot falter, because if it does, you're going to run out of spears. This build is so lumber intensive. It requires so much. Oh, and longbows, and they pick off a knight. One of the knights does fall. Despite having the heavy armor, one of the arrows does find its home. And the Council Hall is producing. Spearmen are coming out as well. This is another thing a lot of people don't actually know, too, about the old English, is that England gets hardened spearmen for free. I don't think it even says that anywhere in their tooltips, like for their like nation bonuses, but they do get hardened spearmen. They don't have to research it. Therefore, they can actually invest in the siege engineering a little bit quicker, rather than having to upgrade their spearmen. So yeah, we do have the siege engineering finishing just now. England is going to be putting pedal to the metal soon. And they are just going to be moving up with spears and longbows and saving wood for the old ram. Man, this is going to be a heavy all-in for sure. And Vortix, let's see what he's doing. It looks like he's securing high ground, taking a little bit of a greedy position here. Obviously, the French are usually quite greedy because of how good their map control is. But here, yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know how this is going to go. I do not know how this is going to go. Yeah, heavy gold income. Not expecting the all-in, I don't think. I mean, maybe. Where's that English army? Very, very defensive. And Beastie is really playing this to the end here. He's taking such a defensive posture, acting like he's just like scared of the knights, whereas the siege engineering in the shadows is prepared and is ready to go. Couple workers being pulled over here. He's going to be doing a little bit of a proxy lumber situation, obviously on King of the Hill. It's a little bit more necessary, but oh, the French knights are here, but the longbows and spears are nearby. If he can get a couple of picks here, oh god, the eco damage is brutal. And the thing is, he didn't need to do that yet. He still had some trees here. That was a very, very greedy play. I think here we'll have to see an outpost being set up. Beastie pretty damn low on wood at this point, although another one of the knights does go down. The longbows are getting some value back. I mean, knights are expensive. They do cost quite a bit. Probably leaving a couple spearmen over here will help you out. And this might be a little bit more of a tell that there's some sort of an all-in going. I think that Vortix might be aware of this, although he hasn't scouted a blacksmith yet. And the second barracks is coming up here for Beastie, which obviously means he wants more spears to try and defend against the knights. In the backfield, farm economy is being switched. Okay, interesting. Yeah, on this map, the French, maybe not wanting to overextend themselves, are going to be switching to a farm economy, because obviously this position could be compromised any second. So having a little bit of food to fall back on here, I think is quite nice. So another one of the French knights. Oh my god, 1 HP and he gets away. Brutal, but 19 workers on lumber. Yeah, like I'm telling you, this all-in style that Beastie is doing is super, super intensive here. Very intensive, and that's going to be taking quite a bit of resources to get going. Oh my god, look at this! I love it! I love this wall off! This is so great! Yeah, Beastie walling off his lumber here. And that's just going to keep the French knights just won't be able to get in there. Oh, that's so funny. As long as he doesn't chop the trees on the edge, that should be okay. And now he can basically just push his army up, man. Yeah, just take these longbows and march right down to the French base. How are the current resources for the French? Vortix does not have much gold. Is he going through the third age? Did I miss this? No, he's not. Okay, so he's still just producing his knights, and England is still just looking to get that all in. I think right now, Vortix must think that the English are just kind of scared and hiding and just trying to like eco up, but there's going to be a lot of pressure coming. Double spearman production. Longbows are still being made as well. Looks like a longbowman's coming out here. Dude, I love that. That is a 200 IQ wall. And on this position, on this map, that's really strong. And like, yeah, lumber is going to have to... the French will have to do the same thing, because you want to run out of lumber very quickly in your main base. So a couple French knights chilling in the shadows, you know, and just enjoying each other's company over there. And here comes ye old longbow legion. A couple of the deer are being hunted by the hardened spearmen, maybe preparing them for later, or maybe the spearman just wants to practice against the French knights and see if he can hone his blade before battle. And England is going to have to move out soon. If they take too much longer, the French are going to get to the third age, and that's just going to be nasty, nasty. But that's a really formidable army, man. That is a lot of units. That's what, 24 units in total? The French right now, let's look at the military for both players. The military supply for the French is 15, and the military supply for the English is 26. Pretty big difference. English rocking 35 workers, it looks like, and the French are rocking 44. That makes sense because the French just naturally produce workers faster because they just get that for free, and it's very, very good. Honestly, though, there might be too many knights. That is an unholy legion of knights right here, and they're going to be able to do some work. And look at the wall off. Oh, it's so good. Yeah, there is going to be a wall off here. Will English switch? I mean, I think they're pretty all in. I don't think they can afford to pull back now. They got to go for broke and just try and battering ram the shit down. But I feel like there's too many French knights and not enough spearmen. Because there's like 12 French knights here. There's another 3 right here waiting to dive in. And I do not know how this is going to go for them. We'll see. If the spears brace, maybe. Yeah, look at that. The French were like thinking about going in there. Okay, at least it does force them back. But man, oh man, you're going to need a lot more spears to deal with that. Because that is a thick army of French knights. And it looks like they have upgrades as well. England is going to be able to torch this mill. They should do that. We will see. Will you be uploading your Genesis Grand Final? Unfortunately, I didn't get to cast the Grand Finals because there was a patch the next morning. By the time my internet was fixed, the replays were bad because of the patch. So I will not be casting the Grand Finals for Genesis. Sorry about that, guys. Yeah, we had a power line go down near my house, and sadly, it killed my internet. So yeah, that was a shame. Alas, it is what it is. Here they come. The old battering ram's going to be pushing in, going for broke here. And there are more spears coming from across the map. This is good. English basically just has to be the Zerg here. You have to just... This is kind of like a roach all in if you come from StarCraft, right? You just need to like throw the roaches in and back them up by a couple of these banelings here being the battering rams. Although not the best metaphor because they don't really kill buildings terribly quickly, but you guys get the picture. So here comes the rams. Now England just needs to keep pouring spearmen out. Spearmen are going to be super essential here. Blacksmith, is it getting any upgrades? It is not. England is all in. They're pedal to the metal, and can they stop the French knights? That is the thing. And it looks like the French are going to be going for the big old concave surround. So if you guys have seen that in other RTS games, like a big kind of U-shaped surround here. But here they come. The spears are braced. Oh man, this is the big French surround. Here come the cavalry from all sides, and the longbows are just being surrounded here. Gonna be scooting and shooting back, and honestly, the spearmen are not even holding up. And this is, yeah man, that's a lot of French knights, dude. And I think the longbows are just gonna get massacred here, and I'm pretty sure Vortix is just gonna be winning this game. And that's over. GG, well played. Oh my god, that all-in got frickin' crushed. And look at that, the battering rams actually killed the TC. Like, the TC died here. Maybe the English could have stayed? I don't think so. They would have just repaired it. Yeah. Ramstein. Yeah, the Ramstein. There weren't enough spearmen. I think there needed to be, like, way more spearmen for that to work. But GG, well played. That is going to be game 1, going to Vortix. And now we're going to be going on to the next match of the day, and we will see what they can do. Yeah, great control. Great control for sure. Looking at the score. I felt like the English all-in was a little bit late, too. Like, the French were allowed to get a lot of knights. Yeah. They had a lot of knights. Not even the proxy blacksmith, I know. Zyphos saying, it gives me flashbacks of my game today. Yeah, I know. Zyphos, have you betrayed your people? Have you switched to playing English? Yeah, let's see what they're doing here. All right, we've got someone adding me here. And I'll join quicker this time, so there won't be any delays. I'll be like in sync with the players. Yeah. That was a good surround, yeah. That was a good surround. Also, yeah, England was being, you know, in the Genesis and several other tournaments, England was becoming somewhat meta against French. But I feel like the French players now, they're just like, all right, I'm just going to mass knights and just run you over. Yeah, I've had enough of this. Yeah, 3 spears to 1 knight is a pretty good ratio. I think if you have that. So, like, how many knights did we have there? Like 12? So if you had like 36 spearmen backed up by like 8 longbowmen, maybe you could have pushed through that. Yeah. Yeah, HRE is really fun. Holy Roman Empire and Delhi are probably my mains right now. Yeah. Really fun civs. Yeah, it definitely is a little bit rough seeing French being spanned every game, but the players can't repeat French. So Vortex, for example, cannot play French again here. Yeah, he cannot. Who picked first and banned first? It's the top of the bracket, so Vortex would have been the first pick and ban. So now this game, we get to see the pick and ban coming in from Beastieqt. So he will get to pick and ban 2 here. All right, let's see what they're tagging me for. All right, find your opponent. All right. Perfect. And yeah, let's see if they're in. All right, so the picks and bans are underway. They're doing it via DMs right now, so I can't see their picks and bans, but there is a pick and ban phase going down right now. Yeah, I've kind of like, I don't know, I feel like I don't have a good mastery of the Rus, or they're just not like, I don't know. I enjoy playing Delhi way more. I'm a very defensive player. Like, I like map control and I love playing Sacred Sites, so I think Delhi is my civ. And HRE also plays Sacred Sites. Plus, like, I just love the big men-at-arms and all that stuff. Yeah, I think it's fun. Bumby asks, when will I be covering Warhammer again? Probably on Saturday. Yeah, on Saturday I'm casting a tournament for Total War Warhammer. It's a clan war, actually. But again, you know, we have Total War Warhammer 3 coming out, what, in like three months? So I'm going to be focusing on Age quite a bit, because Warhammer 2, you know, it's a great game, but I've covered it a lot for years, and I'm really excited for Warhammer 3, and I will be getting super into it. As a matter of fact, when Warhammer 3 launches, I'm going to be hosting probably an in-person event. So I'm going to work with some people, try and get a venue, and host like a big in-person tournament. Yeah, I'm very excited. I have some great plans for Warhammer, so don't worry. It's best of 3. It's best of 3. Which, today's stream is going quite a bit quicker because obviously all the games are best of 3. I think next week, I don't want to change it on them now because the players came into this series with the expectation it was a best of 3. But for future weekly tournaments, I think I will be changing the grand finals to best of 5. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know what changed with Rus. Nothing changed. I kind of like, I don't know. I just lost interest in it. Yeah. Yes. Good, Anakin. Good. The game is starting. I don't have the opportunity to join. It usually takes you like a second longer. Like when the players finish their loading screen, I can then start loading in. Yeah. Thank you guys for the heads up. You are a China main and you are proud, and that is actually your name. So you are certainly very legitimate in that regard, my friend. And here we go. Let's do it. Oh, Warhammer events are open to anyone, yeah. It is going to be a duel between Beastieqt on the Mongols facing off against Vortix on the Abbasid dynasty. Let's see how this goes. We obviously have seen the power of the Abbasid with the tier 3 pushes and the old artillery spam. But yeah, should be good. Best of 5 will be all day, for sure. For sure. So spawning on the west side, we do have our Mongolian player. Oh, is he going to move all the way over here? Now, this is a map that actually has a little bit of water action, so it really does change up the dynamic of play. Players are going to be going more lumber focused, going to be trying to set up some fishing. Obviously, here you can see the Mongolian player does skip their ovo. So they don't even go for the early stone, rather knowing the importance of the fish back here. Granted, this is a pretty sad little pond. There's only like 4 fish in it, but nonetheless, still good to get that set up. It's still, 3,000 food, so that's nice. Now, same thing's going to be happening here for the Abbasid. Abbasid actually have some really good tricks here because they can use their villagers. They build an early dock for half the cost. So most civs, their docks cost 150, but the Abbasid special trait as it pertains to their docks is half cost. So it is going to be 75, and they're going to be getting that juicy fishing going. So this is actually a really cool map, one of my favorites. Down here, this is the good stuff. This is like what you really want. Because there's deep sea fish, which have 2,000 food, they have a faster gather rate, and they also respawn. So investing heavily in like a fishing economy here is definitely better than back here. Granted, this is safer, but there's generally not going to be as many fish. Yeah, the ponds are a little bit lopsided. This one has only 3 fish because he deleted 1, and this one I think has like 6. So this pond is a little bit better here for Vortix. Nonetheless, there is the pond here in the middle, and this should sustain for time, enough time. We'll see. But the middle fishing is really the important stuff here. Really big. So Mongols going for pretty big lumber, and the Abbasid here do not have their House of Wisdom yet. But again, players are not focusing on gold. This is very meta for these type of maps where you basically just hammer that fishing economy. That will pretty much sustain you in terms of food, and then you can pull all your food workers onto gold or wood at a later stage, and you can typically live your best life. So where's this guy going? Is he going to be setting up a dock here? I would actually really like to see the Abbasid set up a second dock here and try and get this going and be very greedy due to the fact that they can build the early or the cheaper docks. Something else that's really fun about this map is Delhi Sultanate is, I think, a really good counter against the French on many water maps like this because their fishing boats shoot arrows. So you can actually build your fishing boats in the same water pool that your opponent is, and you can use the Delhi fishing boats to get their arrows and finish off the French fishing ships. It's really hilarious. I can't tell you how many French players I've been able to beat with that. Even when like they're better players and like, they have advantages in other regards, if you can shut down the early fishing economy while still maintaining yours, it can be pretty crazy. So yeah, the Mongols got 3 fishing boats. The Abbasid have 3 as well. Both players pretty much on a mirror here, doing the exact same thing. The OVO is set up, and yeah, just going to be a very standard kind of slower opening here. So if you guys have any questions pertaining to the meta, the game, the tournaments, all that good stuff, now is a pretty good time. Yeah. So every civilization has like a minor aquatics benefit. So China, I think they their dock produces things faster. Abbasid gets the cheaper docks. The Mongols have the piracy upgrade, and they also I forget what the other ones. Yeah, I think they get the piracy one, which isn't as useful on maps like this. But in the back, we do have the House of Wisdom going up, and it looks like the dreaded Khan is trying to snipe down this villager, but he's actually being attacked by the wolf. The wolf isn't having any of that shit. He must be an Abbasid wolf. But yep, villager should be able to do it. The Khan in the first stage only does 2 damage, so it takes some time. 3 shoreline fish are worthy to build docks, yes, but you don't want to go too crazy. What you would do here is I would probably build like 8 fishing ships here, maybe 6 to 8, and then I would stop and set up another dock here. And you can see the Abbasid player has the right idea. He knows how important the deep water fish is, but oh, and look at this, early walls coming up as well, trying to wall the Mongols off, because then if the Mongols want to get fishing, they're going to have to do the brutal trail here and come all the way around the top. I love this play here. This is like very much like what the Delhi Sultanate does here. Yeah, fishing is the best food income, 100%. So securing the middle here is very important, and it looks like the Mongols, I was kind of expecting them to get some early spearmen, early horsemen, and actually go shut down docks, because if the Mongols went Dark Age horsemen and just ran over here, they could shut down this dock, and the Abbasid would have nothing they could do about it. So I'm really surprised we didn't see Mongolian early pressure. I feel like despite the slightly favorable pond back here, the Dark Age horsemen would have been so strong. And look at this, the Abbasid are now going to be getting the deep water fish, and that's going to be nasty. Yeah, that's right. So, Suhas, thank you. Yeah, transport ships for the Mongols are faster and they're tankier. Thank you so much. I totally forgot about that. Appreciate the feedback, brother. So the wall-off is here, and now there's going to be a barracks coming out for the Mongols, and they're going to be probably double producing spearmen, but the funniest part of this is that there's just going to be a wall here, right away, right? So oh, did he just accidentally destroy that little part of the wall? Will the spearmen be able to get through? We'll find out. I mean, plenty of space for the Mongols to work with. And yeah, the fishing economy has stopped for now. I think 8 boats is enough for a pond this size. And the Abbasid have also stopped back here, knowing that these ponds run out pretty quickly. If you overinvest in boats in them, you can actually lose quite a bit. So why don't more English players use the longbowman stakes? Because they take a long time to set up. In the time they're setting up their stakes, you could be shooting your opponent. It's really interesting because in the earlier beta tests, England was super overpowered because the palings were instant. So the English longbowmen would just drop these spikes, and they could drop them while they're in combat. So when they were surrounded, they would drop them, and then basically anything on top of them would just instantly take a ton of damage. So they were very, very broken. So the Abbasid just really taking control of the map. Vortix clearly quite aware of the value here, but the Mongols are going to be getting out there as well, which is exactly what they need to be doing to stay in the game. Because right now, there's no big advantage, right? Like, yeah, Beastie is getting not Beastie, excuse me, Vortix is getting a nice little, economy going here, but so too will the Mongols. They should be able to do well. Also on this map, I think a trade route would be very strong. There's a couple nice chokes here, so the Mongols could set up like outposts and get a really, really beautiful trade route going here. I don't think anybody's going to the second age. The Mongols do have a couple spearmen here, hunting down the scout of Vortix and the Abbasid. And now this dock is out, and I wonder if the Mongols are going to go aggressive in terms of boats. That would actually be really good. If the Mongols were able to get to the next stage quicker, they could potentially build combat ships and come over here and overwhelm the Abbasid, which would be brutal. And yes, look at this. What you going to do with all that junk in the river? Well, there is going to be a junk coming out for the Mongols, and they are going to be pushing down and trying to shut down the Abbasid fishing. Dude, that would be straight brutality. If the Mongols force them out of the pond here, oh man, that's going to be so good. Outposts being set up, very, very good conservative play to not only defend your dock, but also protect from some sort of a Abbasid counter push. The Abbasid have reached the second age, and they went military wing. Did the Abbasid go military wing? Whoa, that is crazy. You almost never see that. All right, so the junk is coming. Here they are. There is going to be a light junk, and suddenly this Abbasid fleet is going to be panicking. But the Abbasid are responding with their ships of their own, but it's still going to be a minute before it gets here. So a couple of the boats might go down. The Mongols need to strike quick because there are combat ships coming out for the Abbasid. Yeah, it looks like one here. One of them is not out yet, but yeah, that is going to slightly delay the fishing. Yeah, this is very, very good for the Mongols. They're going to have to pull back, though. Fishing is being disrupted, occupying his opponent's APM, but now there is a Dow out, so it looks like we are going to have the dreaded sea battle. For some reason, the Abbasid ship has 100 more HP. Does it do more damage? Is it slower? Not sure. But the Mongols have two ships now. All right. The Clash of Fates. A second dock is being built by the Mongols. It looks like this battle will be decided here in this pond. This is going to be very interesting. Nonetheless, fishing economy going pretty well back here. It looks like there's still plenty of food in those nodes. And the Abbasid with the military wing, that is so unusual. Was it a misclick? I mean, it gives you camel support. So your camels can grant armor to nearby infantry units, which can be potentially decent for like all-ins and things like that. But over here, the bracket is in challenge. So if we have a mod in chat who could link that to you, that works. But otherwise, I'll link it to you after this game is over. So yeah, they got to go all in. Like, this is going to be the battle for the fate of this game in this river here. The Mongols actually have slightly more combat ships coming out, and they do not have the piracy upgrade, so just not playing that way. And look at the walls, man. The Abbasid being mega conservative here, just walling off everything and just leaving the TCs as like the primary choke. Nobody's really going too hard on the land, although, do we have any upgrades? We do. Yeah, we have the Steeled Arrow, which I believe the Mongol ships actually benefit from the attack upgrades from the blacksmith. I can't remember. Yeah, so we got 3-on-3. We have the boats. Fishing ships are not being pulled to repair, and yeah, they're battling pretty good. The Mongols do get the focus fire jump, and if one of these ships goes down, but now we got more ships coming out for the Abbasid, more for the Mongols as well, and the players are just drifting around the river. Like, neither player is going to want to commit to this battle, right? Like, pushing the enemy docks, because the docks do give healing. Oh my god, this is so ridiculous. This is so ridiculous. The game is a really 100% over if somebody loses control of this middle, because there are other all-ins that could be used by the Mongols. Like, I would love to see some Mongol horsemen just getting in here and like, because like the Abbasid have no military. Dude, if the horsemen manage to like overwhelm this position too, like there's so much they could be doing. But I understand the hyper focus on this. Yeah, just constantly producing the double ships here. It looks like the economic, oh my god, Abbasid is going tier 3 and now they're getting economic wing. Okay, I wonder what the purpose of the early military wing was. I'm curious about that. Dude, total pond wars, I know. Yeah, it was pretty wild. Pretty wild, man. And how many boats do we have here? We got 5 combat boats for the Abbasid, and we got 7 for the Mongols. They do have the number advantage, but the problem is the Abbasid have fishing boats here, which can actually repair. So fishing boats can be used in a panic to repair. And the Mongols, are they teching at all? Does not look like they're going to the next age. I would really like to see the step readout or something like that. In terms of the current resources, right now Beastie is a little bit of ways from getting to the next age, and his Khan here still causing some problems, but should be fended off if not taken out by that TC, and it looks like the last shot will finish the Khan. Oh, he loses a bunch of sheep too, which is pretty unfortunate. Yeah, Mongols are basically going all in to try and win this river fight. We got 6 combat ships versus 8 for the Mongols. No piracy upgrade, but they got to get in there. Yeah, they gotta push the tempo right now, because man, he's gonna get to the 3rd age, and if he doesn't secure the advantage by winning this battle in the river, I think he's going to be too far behind to come back. Yeah, 2 boats. Here they come. The Clash of Fates. All right, here it is. Yes, the Mongolian fleet, a little bit weaker, but it looks like they have better range armor. And the battle is underway, so let's see who can micro better here. Oh, that boat a little bit trapped by its own fishing fleet. Oh, but he's not focusing it. He's switching the fire. One of the Mongol ships does fall, and another one looks like it's potentially going to be going down here. The Mongols do have the slight number advantage still, but not by much. It is being equalized. Players microing both ships back. This is certainly a big test of micro, and honestly, it looks like Beastie is getting the advantage here as several of the ships are being taken down. Look at this, and the Mongols winning the river. Yes, they're being forced back into the corner. Some of the Mongol ships appear to have taken some damage, but overall, that is a big win for the Mongols. It was looking very grim for them in many regards, but now they just get to plow all of this. And the micro from Beastieqt, he had the better ship micro, he got the better engagements, and the fishing, you look at the boats, they're like, Anakin, I am too weak. And they're trying to get away, but that is such a big victory. Oh my goodness. Now, there is a tier 3 ship coming out. We have a Bagla. These things are quite strong in combat, but I still think all these Mongol fishing ships could maybe overwhelm them, but that is quite strong. That is quite strong. I don't know why these boats aren't being pulled in to do a little bit more. Looks like there's a spearman trying to get through the gatehouse here, but the big power ship will be out in a second. Can the Mongol ship zerg it? I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, that's not GG by any stretch of the imagination. I don't think so. But will they be able to take down this big ship? They're going to have to zerg that thing. I think so. Look at the zerglings. The Mongol zergling boats. Oh my god. And the big warship is just getting crumped. And the Mongols are going to torch that. They're also going to get resources for this. And now Vortix is certainly on the back foot as the food economy for the Mongols is probably going to be advantageous once they start producing fishing boats here. They're just going to be cackling all the way to the bank. Dude, I know. That's crazy. Yeah, and look at that. Look, they're trying to make Lancers. Interesting. So the Ambassador going tier 3 Lancers, knowing the Mongols are still only in the 2nd age. Oh man, the Ambassador going to just put the pressure on them now. Maybe there was a bit of an overinvestment in the boats here, because now, yeah, this is going to be nasty. Like, the walls are actually protecting the Mongols now. And I would imagine that, yeah, the Abbasid delete the walls. Look, and now they're just going to be moving in, and suddenly, will the overinvestment in the boats here come back to bite them? Oh my god, this is tense. This is really tense. All these workers are going for gold. The step redoubt is being built pretty quickly. And the Mongols do have some Mangudai as well as spearmen, but are they going to be able to hold this? I think they're going to have to spam outposts, man, and just try and defend that way. Mangudai, of course, kill knights very slowly, mind you. But if the Mongols can hold this, I think they're going to be in a position to win the game. But if the all-in, oh, and he lets the lances get him, some of the spearmen dragging the knights down, Mangudai kiting backwards. Spearmen doing the best they can, but they are fighting pretty powerful units. And the Abbasid does have its archery ranges being set up, so there's a little bit of a proxy position here to get the very heavy forward pressure. Now the Mongols are in the 3rd age. They're going to have to respond pretty well. More and more heavy cavalry are going to be coming in. That's going to be tough. He needs to build like 5 barracks right now. Right now, is BC doing on wood? Not so good. He is going to be taking all these out, but these boats really aren't going to do much for him here against these heavy cavalry. Dude, this has been a pretty back and forth game. Yeah, where are these workers going? So the workers are pulling back. They have enough gold. We need to see a bunch of military infrastructure, like spearmen being set up, crossbows. I'm not really sure what the approach for the Mongols is going to be, but something needs to be done. And he's getting a ton of gold here. Outposts being set up in the north. But his army is so small, and he's not making too much right now. Yeah, okay, he's double producing hardened spearmen, which is a good call. And here we have archery ranges and barracks being set up, but the placement of those is a little bit funky, a little bit vulnerable. Maybe set them up here is a little bit safer. And yeah, the 3 proxy ranges are set up, the battering ram. This is a good response from Vortix, knowing that if Vortix didn't all in here, the game was basically lost for him. He's got to counter this, because he's losing so much down here, like so much. You can even see Vortix is a little bit behind in the score. Some of the knights actually being shot by the fishing boats, or the raiding boats as they come. Mongols getting basic archers and upgrading to veteran, and the heavy cavalry for the Ambassador here. And there needs to be more infrastructure coming down, man. Does he have the wood for it? He does have 300 wood. Yeah, he does have 300 wood. Hardened spearmen are coming out, and the archers will be veterans soon. Double battering rams, though, man. The Abbasid gets free siege engineering, so their tier 3 timing can be very foul. Beastie's quite ahead on score, but a lot of his score is actually tied up here in the old what's it called? Yeah, in the old river. So here comes the heavy lancers. We have a couple of Mongolian veteran spearmen. They might be able to put up a fight against these guys if Beastieqt can just kind of endure. He's rebuilding his fishing fleet here. So now he's going to take over the food game super hardcore. But it's just a matter of holding, really, which is not going to be easy against all these heavy elite cavalry, plus the lancers, which are going to be perpetually coming in. In terms of income per minute, I would imagine Beastie is probably going to be killing it soon. Vortix is about to run out of food in his back pond, whereas, you know, the the ambassador, excuse me, the Mongols are basically set on food for the rest of the game, right? They just need to kind of keep the spearmen and try and hold this all in. And if they do, I think they can win. If they, if the battering rams get in there, though, that could be a big problem. So here comes the spearmen. The Mongols have pulled back. Villagers are pulling back to build outposts here, just to give a little bit of a garrison. There are a lot of these archers, and is there anything that the Mongols can really do against them? If the villagers can also torch the battering rams, we'll see how good Beastie's micro is in that regard, but Vortix really just pouring it on here with the heavy cavalry. So, cavalry pulling around, the outpost is shooting in. It looks like the villagers are moving into torch, so you want to do that kind of all at the same time. Some of the lancers moving in as well. And the archers are being pressured, more and more villagers being pulled on both sides, but man oh man, that villager line is definitely taking a lot of damage, but he does have that food economy in the back of this, right? So if he can finish these off and hold, I mean, maybe he's going to be okay, despite losing some villagers here. See, the other one going down, he does garrison. The heavy cavalry are getting a little bit worn down. It looks like we do have some crossbowmen in the backfield doing some damage, and he did take a little bit of eco-harass, but he has all this. He's got that beautiful fishing economy, so if he can hold this, maybe so. It's going to be tough, though. Mongols obviously can't wall, and I would imagine there are going to be more battering rams coming. The income per minute in terms of wood is very good, and I would imagine there's more battering rams being built. Looks like mainly just archers, and the Abbasid are forced back for now, but again, the Mongols aren't mining too heavily. They do have the steppe redoubt going, I think. They have a couple workers on that still. The placement of the Mongolian military infrastructure here is very tough, too, because they can't, produce, safe units, and another battering ram is coming up here, and it looks like that probably will be enough to seal the deal. Beastie is pulling ahead in score, but that's only because of the fishing. And all these combat boats aren't going to be able to do the trick. And with that, Beastie does withdraw, and Vortix is going to be the winner of today's tournament with a 2-1 victory. GG, well played. Man, that counter all-in was really good. He did have the tech advantage because the Mongols went more to try and win the river. I almost wonder what would have happened if the opposite had been done, right? What if Beastie had hard tech and not played the mid as much and just went crazy with Mongolian lancers, right into the Abbasid base? I think that strategy was viable for either player. I think it was viable for either player for sure. So GG, well played. Let's go ahead and make it official. I will be updating it to best of 5 next week, but for now, that is it. Getting feedback, of course, and that's going to be a 2-0 victory for Vortix. And we can take a look at the old top 4 here, and he is going to be our winner. Of course, Vortix was in the top 4 of the big Genesis tournament, but there's the event for today. Dude, I thought Vortix was toast. I thought he was toast, man. Yeah, but he came back. That awareness and that quick reaction to set up the proxy infrastructure was really good. Yeah. Abbasid are definitely a sleeper powerhouse, yeah. Scrappy final round. I thought he was toast when he lost that river. So GG, well played. Vortix will be winning the first place prize of $150. Beastie will be winning the second place of $50. The prize pool, I'm going to be trying to increase it. I'm trying to find a sponsor for the weekly event so we can get up to a $300, $400, $500 consistent prize pool. But we'll get there. So once again, thank you guys for joining. Congratulations to our winners. I'll be back this weekend probably with another tournament in Age of Empires on Sunday. But yeah, that's it for today. Man, that was really fun. Yeah, a little bit overcommitted in the Navy for sure, but it was a good play. Any other Civ could have walled and defended there, but Mongols, yeah, you can't really do that. So he was punished for that a little bit. Both players had an option there. Yeah. Reminds me of the Viper game when he lost water but stomped land. Yeah, it was crazy. Yeah. GG, well played. Thank you all for joining once again. That is going to be it for today. Congratulations to our winner. And we'll see you guys next time, all right? Take care of yourselves. Spend some time with your loved ones. Pet your dogs and cats, all that sort of good stuff. It's the spice of life, man. Family, friends, good food, all that. All right. GG, well played. See you next time. That is it. Cheers. Congratulations to Vortix.